6:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Down studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The offensive staff for the Titans under head coach Robert Saleh and offensive coordinator Brian Dable is starting to take shape as the team made 3 hires yesterday. Reported by Mike Garafolo, the Titans are hiring Shea Tierney as the new quarterback's coach. Tierney worked in the same role on Dable's coaching staff in New York. Also following Dable from New York to Tennessee is offensive line coach Carmen Bracillo. Bracillo has been with the Giants the last 2 seasons, but has also spent some time with both the Patriots and the Raiders. And finally, late last night, per Jordan Schultz, the Titans are hiring Ravens wide receivers coach Greg Lewis to the same role in Tennessee. Lewis, one of the most respected in the business, reunites with general manager Mike Borgonzi, where they spent 6 seasons together in Kansas City from 2017 to 2022. Coming up later today, Robert Saleh speaks to the media for the first time as the Titans coach for his introductory press conference, which takes place this afternoon at 2 p.m. at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. You can hear the presser right here on 104.5 The Zone. And last night, Rick Barnes gets his 850 career win as Tennessee basketball escapes in overtime, beating Georgia 86 to 85 in Athens. Senior guard Jacoby Gillespie led the way with 21 points, and the Vols had 4 or 5 starters reaching double-digit points. The Vols now sit at 4-3 in SEC play, and they'll return home this Saturday with the 7:30 p.m. tip-off to face Auburn. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Off and running on Thursday mornings, Ramon and Will. Good morning. Glad you're with us. Robert Saleh meets with the media today. We got questions. Before we get there, we got questions here. 615-737-1045. What would you ask head coach Robert Saleh this morning if you had one of those fancy plastic credentials hanging around your neck? Coach Mack joins us at 7:20 this morning. We'll talk about Cam Ward's role in the new offense a little bit more in hour 3, and Sam Monson at 9:20. Streaming the show live on 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Good morning, gentlemen. Ramon Foster, Justin Hawkins, Will Bowling. How are we doing?
We good, man. Good morning, sir. Finally seeing the staff somewhat come together. Not a lot of rolling breaking news, but we got good news about who's coming to Nashville with Brian Dable and Robert Saleh. So I like that, Will. We're getting a little bit more clarity of this situation right here. So we still got somebody in our group, in our YouTube, saying, should have kept Mike McCoy. That's how you start your Thursday off, your Friday Junior off, man.
I mean, has he officially been let go?
Yeah.
Yes.
But, like, he could still be a senior assistant, though.
This is very true. I personally don't think he fits this staff, though. Just
I don't either, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were.
Could be an assistant.
I didn't know if you were
We'll
vouching.
emphasize the could.
Could is anything. I could be a billionaire and you guys absolutely not know it. But
there would be signs.
There would be signs. If you see a Bugatti just parked in the front of the gate, then you know I did something that was very successful in my life. Well, I've done a few things very successful in my life, but that right there is hitting the right numbers, and I don't think Mike McCoy hit the right numbers for the staff.
The staff is taking shape, and some exciting hires yesterday. First, from Mike Garafolo, the Titans are hiring Shea Tierney as quarterback coach. Served in the same role on Brian Dable's staff, working with Daniel Jones, Jackson Dart, Tommy DeVito, Russell Wilson, and more. He has worked with Brian Dable since 2017 when they both were at Alabama. There you go.
Good blending of people that he's worked with, man. I think the unique thing is he's bringing in people that he's familiar with and not being told, hey, this guy works. Or the conversation we had about whoever got this head coaching job. One, that's settling itself. But two, the offensive coordinator, a guy that has the ability to reach out and go grab people that he wants and has worked with and of the familiar circle. I think that goes a long way with simplifying the message that you're trying to pass to this type of team. Specifically, I think you got to look at Brian Dable and Cam Ward together and say this is a rookie year all over again because you got so much new to learn. That is the question I would ask Dable. What are you asking of Cam from what he learned last year to this upcoming year? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like with what Brian Callahan had, those books are in the furnace right now.
Sure.
You know?
Well, and I think that's what makes that fit really interesting is that Daboll's done a really good job in, I think, adjusting a lot of his offense to the quarterback that he has.
Yeah,
and I'm excited to see what that means for Cam.
Yeah, me too. And just how this staff looks and come together. Will it be on the younger side? It seemed like it is at this point with the type of people that been reported coming to Nashville with Daboll, which a lot can be made up of communication and generational conversation and stuff like that. But there is a point to be made about that as well, in my personal opinion, specifically for this such a young team. With this being such a young team. Get your English together, Ramon.
It's okay. It's before 7 a.m.
I know. I ain't even sipped my coffee yet.
Oh.
I got it.
You got time.
I do.
We're here now.
I might do it on the first break. I drank some hot water this morning, just so you know.
Yeah, that's a big trend now. Do you like it?
I do.
I've tried it a couple times. I don't mind it.
Intestinally, it feels like it pushes through the way you need it to with the morning wake up, I would say. It actually makes me feel good actually drinking warm water in the morning. Keisha got this quick boiler kettle pot.
Yeah, right.
What? I didn't realize those things work so well.
Okay.
They're like the water, like teacup of like rice cookers.
I'll
you know,
bookmark that for Prime Day whenever that is next.
Listen to me. I thought it was a joke too. Like, yeah, this little automatic tea kettle thing. No, it's not corny.
It's the job done.
It really works really good.
Jordan Raiden of ESPN reports that offensive line coach Carmen Brasillo is also expected to follow Daboll from New York. He spent the last 2 seasons as the Giants offensive line coach and also has worked in that position for New England and Vegas. He was hired in 2014 by Brian Daboll to replace Bobby Johnson. So they have spent 1 full season together and then the 10 weeks of this past season together. Last year, PFF loved the Giants offensive line, ranked them the 9th best in the league in 2025. They were far from that in 2024. In terms of pass blocking efficiency, Ramon, they went from 30th in 2024 and were the 4th best offensive line in the NFL in pass block efficiency this past season, according to Pro Football Focus, at 87.6. After giving up 30 sacks in 2024, they surrendered just 15 this season.
Good stuff. One, I like that just because he has a track record of improvement. It's one thing to inherit an offensive line and to be already good, or you got, great sums of the people that you have inside of the building, the talent, et cetera. But if you take a group that's been bad and move them into the plus column when it comes down to how they take those steps, I forever give praise to coaches that know how to develop and have a system in doing those things too. I think it's crucial, especially for this young group. I would even say Dan Moore should still be in a development stage, although he should be more complete on a second contract. But that, about 5 to 8 year, 4 to 7 year range of your career needs to be your best technically and sound when it comes to your level of play on the field too.
I am curious where they get the 15 sacks thing because they gave up 48 sacks total to their quarterback. So I'm curious on what the metric is that got to that. But I do know PFF liked that offensive line a lot and had them ranked as 9th best. So maybe not 15 sacks. I probably should have checked that again. Jermaine Illuminor gave up just 3.3% pressure on pass plays. Best rate among all right tackles this past season. Art Stapleton works for the USA Today Network up there in New York. Really good, longtime Giants writer. He tweeted when John Harbaugh got the job in New York, he said, "Got to speak with Jack Harbaugh, and I could only hope to be as sharp at 53 as the family patriarch is at 86. Interesting nugget. He told me to put in a lot of." All right, hold on. Again, before 7 a.m.
Gotta get the lingo.
He told me he put in word to John about Carmen Brasillo, joking that he may have told his son he better bring him back.
Wow.
And Carmen Brasillo was not retained by John Harbaugh in New York.
That's fascinating. Also, Harbaugh's got other issues considering his offensive coordinator that he wanted is now taking a head coaching job with the Cleveland Browns.
That is correct.
That probably really does affect what Harbaugh's got going on. Imagine giving him all that money as a head coach and a commitment, and he can't get the staff that he promised that he was going to get because his OC now is a head coach in Todd Monken.
Yep. And then the third hire, Jordan Schultz said it last night. The Titans have hired Ravens wide receivers coach Greg Lewis as their new wide receivers coach. He spent 6 seasons with Mike Borgonzi in Kansas City from 2017 to 2022. Also would have rubbed shoulders with one Ramon Foster at the University of Pittsburgh in 2014. 11 seasons as an NFL coach prior to his arrival in Baltimore, where he was the past few seasons. He worked with the Chiefs running backs and wide receivers, included stops in Philadelphia in 2016 and as an offensive assistant in New Orleans in 2015. A part of 2 Super Bowls with Kansas City in 2019 and 2022. Under his guidance in Baltimore, Zay Flowers, I actually couldn't believe this stat. This was from the Baltimore Ravens website. Zay Flowers became the first wide receiver in franchise history to earn Pro Bowl honors.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
By the way, just as a quick
Derek Mason?
nugget. Crazy, I know.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Steve Smith Sr. of those dudes. Wow. Mike Wallace? All of them. No Pro Bowls out of it. That's tough right there for Baltimore. Well, and I'll say this too, considering where he's coming from, as a wide receiver coach. What's his last name again?
Lewis.
Lewis, yes. To go through Baltimore's system and the different systems that he's been through and the positions that he's coached in as well says a ton about his ability to be flexible as a coach. Not only knowing, Will, the importance from a wide receiver's perspective on the run game, but knowing how to teach his wide receivers how to block. That's one thing I'm hoping moves forward constantly, too, is they do get to a position in which everybody on the field understands everybody's job. And it seems like that's what Brian Dable is looking for from his staff. Not just be a one – pegged into one hole in your career. This guy went from wide receivers to running backs in Kansas City, and this is during their Super Bowl tenure as well, and running into Mike Borgonzi along the way.
In 2024 with the Ravens, among all wide receivers rooms, Greg Lewis's Ravens receivers group led the NFL in yards per reception and finished second in yards after the catch per reception. 74 for 1,059 and 4 touchdowns for Zay Flowers in that 2024 season.
Look at Zay. That's been Baltimore's, I guess, Achilles heel, though, too, and they found a guy that can make it work for him. Zay turned into a guy, and that's what you're asking for is where is the development? The same way I look at the quarterback and the wide receivers that he make better. That plays a crucial part into it also. So good on him.
I am on PFF.com, and it does say, after giving up 30 sacks in 2024, New York surrendered just 15 this year. So I don't know if somebody changed the way that they divvy up sacks to offensive line. I'm looking at it right now from Pro Football Focus when they ranked the Giants the 9th best O-line in the league. So that is what they say. That is what they say.
They say.
615-737-1045 is our number. Streaming live at 1045 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Live for the 1045 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. What questions do you have for Robert Saleh today? We'll hear your thoughts and give ours next.
Oh. You got some big milestones coming in 2026, this new year, getting engaged, celebrating a big anniversary. Well, Genesis Diamonds is ready for you. After a record-breaking year in 2025, Genesis is fully stocked for the new year with a massive selection of exquisite diamonds, designer rings, all the latest fashion jewelry, and, of course, the largest selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Genesis is the go-to place for all things jewelry here in the city. Genesis has the highest possible standards. Full transparency, price integrity, uncompromising quality, and customer service that doesn't come from a policy manual. It comes from the heart. At Genesis, their non-commissioned experts are there to help you, to guide you, to show you all your options, to show you how to maximize your budget with no pressure, no games, and no nonsense. At Genesis, they are not just another jewelry store. They are the industry leaders with unbeatable value, exclusive brands, and warranties and guarantees other jewelers will never offer you, okay? So for that memorable moment in 2026, just know this. Get to Genesis and they will hook you up. Learn more at genesisdiamonds.com.
Press conference day in Nashville. As today, Robert Saleh meets with the media and talks to you, Titans fans, for the very first time. Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone. He's Ramon Foster. I'm Will Bowling. At Ramon and Will on Twitter, where you can hit us up. We asked you, what questions would you ask Robert Saleh today? I'll give you ours in just a moment. First, let's go to the phones. Alvin is in Nashville, first up today. What's up, Alvin?
Morning, Alvin.
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
We good, man. How you?
Good. Hey, I just really called just to stir the pot this morning. Just, my own little fantasy. But what about how do you fellas think about for the 4th round pick instead of picking someone? We traded to the Cleveland Browns for Myles Garrett. The reason why I'm asking that is because, man, he's done in Cleveland, man. You're not trying to do nothing with him. I'm going to hang up and listen. I appreciate everything y'all do.
Thank you, Alvin.
That's
appreciate
strong, Alvin.
Yeah, you'd have to give up more than just the number 4 overall pick.
That was my first response.
Yeah.
It's more than 4 because I think even Cleveland last year was saying soft conversation. They need numerous first-round picks for him.
Yeah, get ready to say goodbye to your first-round pick next year.
Yeah, that's probably that one and a second-rounder as well. That's a lot of we're talking about a potential league MVP, even though he won't get it. We're talking about Defensive Player of the Year, which he should get it. We're talking about
we'll definitely get that.
A walking gold jacket, and Myles Garrett.
Yeah, not super realistic.
I mean, would I entertain it?
I admire the ambition. No, I mean I wouldn't even entertain it. This team needs young football players that it's just drafted.
The question I asked, if you're going to get Myles Garrett, what are you asking for as well?
You're asking for a team in a Super Bowl window to get a little bit better.
In a Super Bowl window. Yeah, I'd ride with you there. It kind of makes sense for a team. No, not even Houston at this point. Like, you got to really be in it or be
that's a good question. Who would that make sense for?
Who would make sense for them? Not
the Rams don't like draft picks.
The Rams?
Somebody with a closing window.
And Myles Garrett, I don't even know if his window's closing. He's such a phenom.
No, not
at this
his,
point.
but some teams.
Chicago. They're set at quarterback.
Yeah, I could see Chicago a little bit. I mean, they're already
in the window.
Oh, no doubt.
In the window.
No, yeah, for sure.
Defensively a piece away, always a team like that.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it that some team's going to pony up that many high-level draft picks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How many midway teams are there that are willing to sacrifice
the Chargers would do that, honestly.
Just looking at support and the style and the team and the market, I think would also matter to him at that point as well.
That would be one of the richest trades in NFL history.
Has to be. I mean, Alvin, I'm with you. That stirs the pot, but I don't know. Like, you got way too many things, I think, inside of this building that needs to be fixed before you can start making that type of move. Because that's got to be the strongest trade in the league right now if you're asking somebody.
No
I think
question.
He's getting more, and I personally think this. I'm saying it earlier. I don't think I've said it. I think T.J. Watt probably asked for a trade.
Interesting.
Okay. Are you willing to rebuild with what they got going on? Like, is Pittsburgh close with no quarterback, essentially?
Great question. Or is Aaron Rodgers back with his old friend Mike McCarthy?
I saw those conversations pop up.
What would you ask Robert Saleh today, Ramon?
Well, would I ask him, how long is he giving himself? And as far as the rebuild, turning things around, because we can ask philosophy all we want to, which I heard, don't ask that question. We had Nick Wagner
of ESPN was like, yeah, if you ask about scheme, don't expect to get much of an answer.
Yeah, but I think for a guy like him that understands where he's coming from the Jets and what it looked like in San Francisco immediately as he left, you probably got to ask a guy like him, how much grace are you giving yourself within this first year to perform? And I think he should have an answer for that type of situation right there, considering he know what this team is, how bad he wanted this job, and how he's setting this staff up. Barring injury and everything goes perfect, what's your goals for this team, and how long are you giving yourself to right this ship and change those guys' mindset? As a coach, you probably thinks he changes it overnight or within 1 year, but the reality of it is there's a lot. We're speaking about edge rushers, running backs, wide receivers that have to be fixed. It has to be fixed as soon as possible. That's one of the first ones I'm giving him.
It's fair.
And I think that's a personal one, not a team one as well, even though he'll probably deflect it and be like, well, no, it's about the team. Like, nah, coach, you wanted this job for a reason. You told them you were coming to Nashville
that's true.
for a reason. Why?
I think it's a great question. And I think, too, especially when you look at the turnarounds in 2 years for Seattle with Mike McDonald and the Seahawks, who are the NFC champions, and obviously 1 year for old friend Mike Vrabel in New England. Does that ambition match an expectation? Do you want this job because you think you can immediately turn things around? Or do you want this job because you want to live in Nashville, you like the new stadium, you like Mike Borgonzi, you like Cam Ward? I imagine there are long-term goals and short-term goals, but I am curious, though, to your point, it's a great question that if you really wanted to be here so badly, does that mean you think you can pretty immediately turn things around?
And I think that's fair.
More than fair.
For him, especially since it's his second time. You've got your quarterback. You got a team that's really behind you. And from, I would guess the conversation inside of the building, it seemed like Miss Amy's all the way behind this one. And I think that bodes well for a guy like him that's walking into this situation. So those are the things that I would want to know from a guy like him. And it's probably a surface level. He might give me the most cliche coach's answer ever. But I think
you got to ask the question, though.
This fan base, I think, needs a lot of understanding of that type of stuff because they're getting tireless, I guess, about this type of situation. Tiresome.
Any other follow-ups? What else you got?
Defensively, what are you doing in the front seven? What are you asking of guys? That's been your calling call. Why are you choosing to call plays this time around? And why do you trust yourself over letting somebody else call those plays? What changed for you in that mode?
That was one of mine as well.
Yeah.
And I think the follow-up to that follow-up is what that means for the offense. How much say do you have in Brian Daboll's play calling, timing, game planning, all of these things? I mean, obviously, Robert Saleh doesn't just know defense. He will know how to scheme against Brian Daboll's offense and will know things on offense. I think there's also a point to be made here about the dynamic between the two of them. And I'm thinking to a Josina Anderson tweet last night where he was like, one league source told me that it wouldn't have been the worst idea for Todd Monken and Jim Schwartz to be co-head coaches, which also, moment of silence for that take. Woof. Okay, anyway. That's not even totally on Josina. Just whoever texted her that. Are you 12?
I could go to the podium. They have to be. I could stand up at a podium and talk for 4 hours about that. I promise you.
Is somebody sitting in a room saying, I wonder if we can see, I wonder if we can get Josina to tweet this.
Boy, if they set her up like anything. That. Oh, my gosh. It was like Ron Burgundy out here. That's tough.
But to that same point, though, at the end of the day, and I know you guys know this, and I'm not saying anything that's not already out there. As much as we're talking about Brian Daboll as the offensive play caller and offensive coordinator, and he's kind of the head coach of the offense, he and Robert Saleh are not co-head coaches. Robert Saleh is the head coach of this team.
Absolutely.
What does that look like in empowerment of your offensive coordinator or still having final say to say, Brian, throw it.
Yeah.
Brian, run it.
Yeah.
And for two people, Ramon, who haven't worked together, I am curious to see what that dynamic looks like. Clearly, Mike Borgonzi has given Brian Daboll a vote of confidence. Clearly, Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll already had a relationship. They just hadn't worked together. And I imagine there are plenty of coaches that are close with people and peers in their community they've not coached with. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just think it's something to be ironed out when it's 3rd down and 3, and Brian Daboll wants to run it against a certain look, and Robert Saleh wants to air it out and throw it because of something he's seeing. Or how much is he even watching what the defense is doing to give suggestions? Is he just talking to his guys? I think all of that is going to be really interesting because, at the end of the day, Brian Daboll may kind of be autonomous and the head coach of the offense, but Robert Saleh is the head coach of the Tennessee Titans.
He gets final say, and he'll have his headset on listening what the offense is doing. He has to navigate around the building when it comes down to how he, is informed about the special teams. To your point about the offense, honestly, the blocking scheme of the offensive line. Another follow-up question with that being said, though, Will, with these two, I guess, just football heads at this point with the offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll, and the defensive coordinator and head coach, Robert Saleh. This, to me, I think is going to be fascinating watching him in this role. Since he is the play caller and he will call plays, how will you attack Cam? How aggressive Do you see yourself with such a young quarterback in Cam Ward?
It's one of the things I'm excited about, honestly.
Easily. Because if his defenses are as good as we think they are, and then Brian Daboll can call it and haul it himself too. But in the middle of that is a human being by the name of Cam Ward that got to figure out, do I know where to go with it? Because his defenses can get to Cam the way we see it. So how do you curate Cam? How do you let him grow and mature without overloading him and challenging him every single day in practice? Because there's only after so many losses, like you start to feel like, well, what the heck am I doing? And I'm not saying Cam won't adjust, but if you are an aggressive head coach, when do you say whoa and when do you say sick 'em?
And clearly that's one of the things that won the Titans over was his plan or what there could be for Cam coming up.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah.
Exactly. Have to be eloquent about that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Now, one of my questions that I would ask is what changes from his time in New York to now? That's one of the biggest questions for coaches in their second stint. What happened in New York? What are you going to do differently to correct those things, whether it be scheme changes, whether it be player and staffing changes? Like, what is going to be different this time around that you're going to succeed?
That is my number one question as well. Hadn't gotten to it yet. But, yeah, that's it. Why will things be better this time? What did you learn? What would you do differently? What worked that maybe would have resulted in more wins and losses if you'd been given more time? How much does the fact that you have Cam Ward here and not Zach Wilson? I probably wouldn't ask that, but like, how much does Cam change your outlook?
Why not?
I mean,
Somebody might. You know that group.
I'm not going to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I moving forward, not backward. But I do think that it's a fair question to say, why should you be given another chance? He would have had to give the right answer to that to the Titan search committee in order to get the job, obviously. I'm curious to hear what the answer is.
Mm-hmm.
Eric's in Nashville up next. Good morning, Eric.
Morning, Eric.
Hey, guys, you kind of danced around some of the things, but I guess I kind of have a general question that kind of all-encompassing. What is your vision for this football team and this fan base in the next 4 to 5 years? Just wanted to get his thoughts on that, guys. As always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Y'all take care.
You too, Eric.
Thank you, Eric.
Appreciate that.
Vision for the team and for the fan base.
To me, that's always such a hard answer to give.
We're going to be fast and physical. We're going to be relentless. We're going to attack every day.
Super Bowl, and we're going to
we want to win championships here.
That is very much so a strong question, but hearing him give that answer, which I'm guessing somebody will ask that question today, Eric, though, too, I think it's going to be essential for us to listen to it.
It's opening statement stuff, too, before you even ask a question.
It is.
Yeah.
It most definitely is, but it really, to me, I think Robert Saleh needs to be in a position where he understands where this team is. And I think the rebuild of getting this team back mentally to where they know how to compete each and every week and what does that look and sound like and how does that feel on your body? That's the other part of it, though, too, because the Titans have been on the bad end of a lot of losing or close losses or just being completely out of games at times. And, there's a lot of those guys that are still in the building where you got to change their mindset. The only reason I bring that up is you look at a coach, and this is college to the NFL. I hope you appreciate this analogy of it or this comparison. Kurt Signetti went from JMU and brought most of all his players to Indiana. And you got to ask that question, well, why? I think they said there was only one guy that ended up staying on that group, and that's the young man from Father Ryan. What's his name?
Charlie Becker.
Charlie Becker. He asked him to stay. Why did you ask him to stay but brought in most of all new transfers, right? And that's because he knew those guys understood what he was going to be asking of them. It was probably going to be hell for those dudes in Indiana the first year. Who can handle the change and understanding that, to be quite honest with you, when Cam Newton said this a few years back, and he's like, that locker room sucked, like they were a bunch of losers, he had a point to be made in how he felt about the Carolina Panthers at the time.
That's totally fair.
Wrong words, wrong messaging, but the message, in my opinion, was good. I thought Cam understood, this team doesn't know how to win.
The evaluation of the guys that are currently on the Titans roster is critical.
It's super critical.
And you're right. I mean, who do you believe in? Again, you'd have to probably give him truth serum to get a totally true answer on that, because then you have the connotation and delineation of who do you not believe in. But at the same time, 100%. who are the building blocks here that you specifically mention and mean it? Because, again, think back to 2 years ago when Brian Callahan got here and was asked about Derrick Henry. Say, well, I'm in the business of wanting good football players on my team. And then they never even tried to re-sign Derrick Henry.
Right.
So it didn't really matter what he said, right?
It didn't.
But you're right. Again, if I want a totally legit truth serum answer on that, 100%, I think it's one of the biggest questions facing this team right now. On Twitter, at Ramona Will, you can chime in. What questions would you have for Robert Saleh this morning? Cody writes in, I'm surprised this was not written in by one Jay Schaefer, who tends to listen to us sometimes, says, my question is, what is his favorite shampoo? Favorite shampoo?
Not Rogaine, I can tell you that.
Okay.
That's good.
I know the Buck Rising show talks a lot about good balds, like who in football and who in life is a good bald. Robert Saleh is a great bald.
I got 3 balds now.
He pulls it off. Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, what is wrong with people?
I heard they had bald caps on that show yesterday.
Let's not do this, y'all.
Jim writes in, maybe an equally funny question. His question is, where is Will Levis on the depth chart?
Oh, no. Second is where he is at this point. Second? Third?
Maybe.
Is that guaranteed? I mean, I shouldn't be laughing. I don't know.
Oh, no. Levis could stay here on this. Why do y'all hate Levis so much, man?
Well, I think the follow-up to this would be, why do you love Levis so much to be worried about where he is on the depth chart right now when Cam Ward is your quarterback one?
Because he's on the roster. That's why. Who was it? That was Jeff, whoever it was, asking that question. That's bad, man. Don't. We were having a
Jim.
good Thursday.
Different J
Jim.
name. James. Jimothy.
Himothy. What is wrong with y'all, man?
615-737-1045. Open for your phone calls. A legend is slamming the Hall of Fame in defense of Bill Belichick. You'll hear it next.
What comes to mind when you think of home? Maybe it's the meals around the kitchen table, a conversation, movie nights on the couch, or the feeling of waking or walking through the door and knowing you're safe. Home is where life happens, and at the center of it all is your home's foundation. At USS, they understand how important that foundation is to your life and how much trust it takes when you need help protecting it. January is a wet month. We're learning that right now. We've already seen a good bit of it, too. So when water starts showing up where it doesn't belong, probably in your crawl space or basement, it can quickly become a serious problem. And figuring out where that water is coming from, that can be a nightmare. It can come from poor drainage, small cracks in your foundation walls, or even a hidden plumbing leak underneath your house or around your house. The USS team of experts will find out why your basement crawl space is wet and then create a customized plan to fix it the right way with a lifetime warranty as well. At United Structural Systems, they're more than a team of problem solvers. They're your neighbors, and they care about their customers. You can go ahead and go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them at 615-488-7855.
Wrapping up hour one on Ramon and Will, 104.5 The Zone and 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch.
Stuff that you say on break, the stuff that we say on break, okay, is beyond hilarious. Now, we'll just leave it there, and we'll try to add some comedic relief to everybody's drive this one. By the way, be safe going in. The roads were better. I got up to 80 miles per hour today.
Hey.
It was legal. I was going with the flow of traffic.
Hopefully in a 70.
Yes, I was. I was going with the flow of traffic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Famous last word. But, officer, I was going with the flow of traffic.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah, 100%.
I thought so.
Oh, you're good.
If I'm holding up traffic, I'm actually more dangerous than the people that are speeding at that point.
Listen, in a 70, 55 is more dangerous than 80.
That's what I was thinking.
No question.
In West Texas, their speed limits is 85 miles per hour.
You can ask Coach Mack about that in 30 minutes.
85. I'd love to be driving
They
down
live by
there.
a different set of rules down there in West Texas.
Yeah, they do. It's flat.
Tom Brady was on Seattle radio yesterday on 7:10 a.m. defending Bill Belichick for all the talk about Bill Belichick being a snub as a first ballot Hall of Famer in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and the way his relationship with A, Brady, and B, Robert Kraft have maybe not changed his legacy, but have just added some nuance to the discussion. Well, Tom Brady joined the group of people that are advocating for and defending former head coach Bill Belichick.
Tom, how did you react yesterday or this morning when you heard that Bill was not selected to be in the Hall of Fame in his first shot?
I just think that, to me, I don't understand it. I mean, I was with them every day. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, there's really no coach that should ever be a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is completely ridiculous because people deserve it. And he's incredible. There's no coach I'd ever want to play. I'd rather play for. If I'm picking one coach to go out there to win a Super Bowl, give me one season, I'm taking Bill Belichick. So that's enough said. There's nothing outside of that. Again, when it comes down to votes and, popularity and all that, then welcome to the world of voting, and you may as well go, try out for the Oscars or whatever and, get a big panel to tell you if you're good or not. So it's the way it works. And unfortunately, he's going to get into the Hall of Fame. In the end, I'm not worried about that. And a lot of times in life, for all of us, things don't happen exactly how you want them or on your timeline, but we'll all be there to celebrate him when it does happen. And he's going to have a huge turnout from so many players, coaches that appreciated everything that he did and the commitment that he made to winning and the impact that he had on all our lives. And that'll be a great celebration when it happens.
Tom Brady yesterday on 7:10 a.m. in Seattle. That a sincere defense for you there, Ramon?
It was very diplomatic, man. I thought he was going to say initially if he wasn't a first ballot guy, then I'm not either. That's been my mindset. Him, doubling down and vouching for him. If he had to pick any coach, he's picking Bill Belichick as his guy. I think that says a lot because here's the thing about it. Yes, Brady did go win a Super Bowl without him in Tampa. But I think that mashup that they had in the earlier years before Brady became Brady and what that team meant, I'll forever say, Brady is the GOAT easily. But if you look at those defenses and those special teams that supported him, I think you look at that team and say that was a great regime. That was a all-time era for the New England Patriots, man. So you can't back down away from what they were. It was Bill, in my personal opinion, that incorporated that discipline in everybody, the small detail, the rules that he knew over everybody and how they kind of pushed the edge a little bit. That's a Bill Belichick culture setter right there more than anything. I think a lot of teams and coaches have tried to pivot and figure out how to, duplicate what they've done. To be quite honest with you, teams like Philly just try to out-talent them.
Titans made an AFC championship game emulating what the Patriots did.
See what I'm saying?
With John Robinson and Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
So the Pro Football Hall of Fame released a statement yesterday to media reports about Belichick and about their 2026 class and kind of went on the attack on the fact that there was a leak, saying each year the Hall reviews the selection process and the composition of the 50-person selection committee. If it is determined that any members violated the selection process bylaws, they understand action will be taken. That could include the possibility that such selectors would not remain a member of the committee moving forward. The selection of a new class is the most important duty the Hall of Fame oversees each year, and the integrity of that process cannot be in question. Hall of Fame, I don't know if that's really your biggest problem right now. To be quite honest with you, the fact that this leaked does not change the fact that this was a horrible decision.
Yes, it was. And that's the problem with what the Hall, like, I'm going to speak on it freely because I know I'll never get in the NFL Football Hall of Fame. That's the problem. Right there, like, it's so gate-kept, and you want to keep people out in this secrecy that you have situations like this that come up that should never happen.
It's very self-important.
It's very self-important on how you're going about this. There are so many guys that are backlogged that need to be into the Hall of Fame because they are huge contributors to what this game is. Or let's even go further on a year-to-year basis, which I think is one of the dumbest processes ever. Like, I know everybody has their thing. Like, there's pitchers that are probably one at a time that go in an MLB, but not as much as it is for the NFL. Like, you mean to tell me that you can have a coach and an owner and two quarterbacks and two wide receivers who justifiably need to be first ballot Hall of Famers get in? Because, we want to keep this mystique and just this high level of just entrance into the Hall of Fame? Like, no. Why was T.O. not a first ballot? Like, I get it. The attitude is a problem. Whatever. But, like, you can't say that man wasn't one of the best people to ever play the game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
baseball has a lot of the same problems too. I mean, and they're dealing with the steroid era and attitude, and I didn't like this person or covering them. I actually think that's more of a problem in baseball. But again, we also know that because they're more transparent about their process.
Quarterbacks are retiring at different times because they don't want to be on the same ballot together. I don't think Ben and Brady are together, but like, think about those positions. I think Ben should be a first ballot, but Tom Brady is. Brady's going to get in, Ben won't. Or you look at the scenarios of Eli. Like, okay, Eli's a different conversation.
Yeah,
but
he's
you
a
look
little
at
unique.
The different wide receivers that have, not gotten in.
Let's go back to the phones. Kendall's in Nashville up next. Good morning, Kendall.
Good morning. How y'all doing today?
We're good, Kendall. Good morning.
All right. I just had a question that I would have liked to ask Robert Saleh myself. But what is his plan for, developing, the next guy up as far as coaching? So if Dayball is leaving after 1 year, what do you plan on, who do you plan on developing to have them ready to kind of either step into his role? Or are you going to possibly be thinking about, hiring outside again, or how does that look?
Great question.
I'll let you guys take over. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Kendall.
Great question.
Yeah, it is. I personally think that starts with Brian Dable, though. Who are you bringing in on that staff that you feel like you need to be grooming to take over your position if you do choose to leave? That's usually how it go in these type of situations. Like, especially if Cam has a lot of success, Kendall, this year, I don't think Robert Saleh is going to want to change what Cam has done this year by incorporating a new offense. I think if you trust Brian Dable's system, whatever he's bringing in and pouring concrete and laying the foundation and DNA moving forward and Cam's successful, that needs to be Cam's calling card with probably one or two tweaks moving forward. I'm looking at the rest of his staff, to be quite honest with you.
Open for more of your phone calls on questions for Robert Saleh at 615-737-1045. Tennessee also gets the job done in Athens last night. And there's one player that I think answered the question on who is Tennessee's X factor with the way that he's played in 2 straight games. We'll discuss that next.
6:59, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans offensive staff for the Titans under head coach Robert Saleh and offensive coordinator Brian Daboll is starting to take shape with 3 hires reported yesterday. Mike Garafolo tweeted out the Titans are hiring Shea Tierney as the next quarterback's coach. Tierney worked in the same role in Daboll's coaching staff in New York. Also following Daboll from New York to Tennessee is offensive line coach Carmen Brasillo. Brasillo has been with the Giants the past 2 seasons and has also spent some time with the Patriots and the Raiders. And finally, late last night, per Jordan Schultz, the Titans are hiring Ravens wide receivers coach Greg Lewis to the same role in Tennessee. Lewis, one of the most respected in the business, reunites with general manager Mike Borgonzi, where they spent 6 seasons together in Kansas City from 2017 to 2022. And coming up later today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, Robert Saleh speaks to the media for the first time as the Titans head coach for his introductory press conference, which takes place at 2 p.m. this afternoon. You can, of course, hear the presser right here on 104.5 The Zone. And last night, Rick Barnes gets his 850 career win as Tennessee basketball escapes in overtime, beating Georgia 86-85 in Athens. Senior guard Jacoby Gillespie led the way with 21 points, and the Vols had 4 of their 5 starters reaching double-digit points. The Vols now are 4-3 in SEC play, returning home to face Auburn this Saturday with a 7:30 p.m. tip-off. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into hour number 2 on your Thursday morning edition of Ramon and Will. Glad you are with us on Robert Saleh press conference day in the Music City. He's Ramon Foster. Justin Hawkins is at the controls. I'm Will Bowling. At Ramon Foster, at Will_Bowling, and at Ramon and Will, where you can follow the show. 615-737-1045. We got Coach Mack coming up in 20 minutes. Excited to talk some ball with Mac this morning, Ramon, because I want to ask him his perspective on a one-gap defense and the kind of system that Robert Saleh is going to bring to Nashville.
I definitely want to hear it, too. I wonder what – I guess it depends upon what you're coaching on, what you like. I think defensive line coach would love, like, penetrating defensive linemen. And teaching two-gap technique is hard. I've seen those D linemen just get – I'm talking about cursed out big time by their position coaches because they can't hold the point. I'm interested to hear that from Mac, man.
Last night in Athens, Tennessee in overtime beats Georgia 86-85, the 850th victory of Rick Barnes' 39-year coaching career. Jacoby Gillespie had 21 points on 4 made threes. Nate Ament adds 19, and J.P. Estrella stacked a second good game in a row. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 7 offensive boards last night, Ramon, for J.P. Estrella. Vols got it done, and you may say that I'm coping, and I don't care. If you'd given me 2-1 out of Kentucky, Alabama, and Georgia going into these last 3 games, I would have taken it in a heartbeat. Good on Tennessee for stacking the road win in Alabama and getting a good road win last night in Athens.
It was just so necessary. Down the stretch, man, to just the overtime play of that game, I thought was super smart. That last possession by Georgia was a masterclass.
Smurf Milner.
Bro.
Going for a layup with 1 second on the clock, down by 3.
Beating the air out of the ball, too. I'm talking about, yes, the perimeter defense by the Vols defense I thought was super elite. You knew they were going for the three-pointer. You knew they were going to go for it. By the way, I think it was Emmett on our YouTube chat. It was like, is that Tennessee, going back so far, or is Georgia that good? Georgia's good.
Yeah, Georgia's a solid team.
Georgia's a solid team.
There's really not a terrible team in the SEC this year. I know South Carolina got pantsed by Florida last night, but everyone else, and South Carolina's not even that bad. I think Florida might be that good on their day.
Oh, no doubt. Florida is a challenge for anybody. They mollywopped the Vols. So, yes, there's that side of it, too. But Georgia's good. Georgia started off the season hot. I think they were one of the last undefeated teams as well. Georgia's got size. They got the ability to shoot outside. Watching their set, before I go back to the last play, they play 5 out. they stress your big man when it comes down to their offensive set, man.
Cannon Catchings is a 6'9" wing, kind of like Nate Ament, who can shoot over your 4 if you play a big lineup.
And that's the thing. They put a lot of stress on J.P. Estrella and Akpara last night trying to defend them around the perimeter. Then you have the rebounds and they will just pop and drop a three-pointer like it's nothing, Will. But that last set I thought was phenomenal, man. Watching what's his name? Murph, you said?
Smurf Milliner.
Marcus is who you are this morning, okay? Marcus Milliner, my brother. He beat the ball, Will, way too much, man. And I think the shot wasn't there. That's number one, but you don't take that.
Gotta take something.
But here's what I would give credit to. Like, this was the unspoken thing by Nate Ament on watching him last night. He was halfway between the paint and the three-point line, I think where Catchings was at the time.
Cannon Catchings
from Georgia. He was waiting for him. Nate Ament went out and allowed him to go make that layup right there, and I thought that was high basketball IQ from him.
On which possession?
Committing. The last possession that Georgia went. Nate Ament was in between the three-point line and the paint. When he saw Murph dribbling to the basket, he went back out to the three-point to defend Catchings.
Yeah, just let him go.
Just let him go and score with 0.6 on the clock.
It really
smart IQ right there.
If you follow me on Twitter, you saw I tweeted this out. It was the basketball version of Nico running out of bounds at the end of the Arkansas game.
It was. Yes, it was.
Which I'm glad we can laugh about now. A year later. That's UCLA quarterback Nico Iamaleava. No, I thought it was a really good performance from Tennessee, really in the second half. They were dominant in the second half of this game. And really, again, if they hit the free throws, Ramon, I don't think this is even a game that goes down to the final few possessions. And that's what's separating this Tennessee team right now from really looking super dangerous in March or bowing out to an 11 seed or a 12 seed. Tennessee out-rebounded Georgia 26-7 on the offensive glass. Those are the most offensive rebounds that Tennessee has ever had against an SEC opponent in program history.
That's what kept them in the game, to be quite honest with you.
Because when the shots weren't falling, that's all they had was second chance points. And it worried me that they were dominating so much on the offensive glass in the first half and didn't have the point production to show for it.
They couldn't get the ball back in the basket at all. They were getting the rebounds. They were getting a second chance opportunity, passing back out. Guys are missing it and whatnot as well. But you're correct in that, though, man. Like, that's the one thing that kept them in. And Mike Keefe brought that up on his broadcast. I was listening to him. He was like, other than the offensive rebounds, there's nothing going right for the Vols at that point in time, and it wasn't. I thought guys were trying to press too much. Jalen Carey trying to go with him being banged up last night too.
I don't know if he was totally healthy. You're right.
Absolutely no way. Also, I would tell you to watching this team as well. You see the amount of freshmen that are playing and the mistakes they're making.
Nate Ament not holding his spot after a turnover on an inbounds pass. Amari Evans hitting a player kind of away from the ball after he had just passed it and kind of extended the arm a little bit. Yeah, 100%.
Dwayne Brown passing the ball when I think Gillespie wasn't established crossing backcourt.
Yeah, you're right.
It was that one. And also I got to add, Gillespie to some of the problems. Gillespie and his just phantom. I know
he's
he didn't
loose
have
with the basketball.
So loose.
It helps you a lot of times, but it is still a concern against the really good defensive point guards that he's going to be matched up with.
Right.
For sure.
Like, he can't allow that. Like, that ball gets away from him and he's dribbling it. And you're like, brother, where's the protection? Give me a shoulder.
And that, too, like, it's even more frustrating when you see him at the end of the second half beautifully control it in a 3.6 second sprint from one end of the floor to the other with a floater that I thought was straight in for a buzzer beater that he just barely missed. The same set, really, that Tennessee ran at Illinois to beat them last year with Jordan Gainey. Looked like the exact same play. And, you're right. I mean, he kind of giveth and taketh away.
Yes, he does.
Right now. You live with it because of the good things that he can do, but my goodness, the turnovers and the missed free throws are going to be the death of this team.
He and J.P. Estrella both. And J.P. had a good game last night. I thought he was a good part of the second chance rebounds offensively. He played his part there. Defensively, he was good as well. But when he's on, you need him because here's the thing about it. Felix Akpara, I don't think is going to give you a lot of offense. That baby hook shot that J.P. had last night, I wouldn't have taken that shot.
That's his game.
He's
kind of a throwback big man in that way.
Yeah.
But he can also shoot.
Yeah, he can.
And he's got a good mid-range game. No, JP Estrella, 17 points, 8 made field goals last night. Yeah. That tied his totals against Northern Kentucky earlier this year for his second most in a single game. November 12th against North Florida, the only better statistically good performance he's had with 23 and 11 in that one. But Ramon, he is the X factor. JP Estrella is Tennessee's X factor. We asked Grant Ramey this yesterday, and I think Bishop Boswell is a legitimate answer as well. But as you start to get more consistent performances from Nate Ament, and you obviously know what you're getting from Jacoby Gillespie, Tennessee needs a third guy to be a consistent 12 to 15 points, 6 to 8 rebounds guy. And the way that this team is built, with the lack of depth and the lack of shooters that you have at the 2-guard spot, and even really at the 3, you need your front line to show up every single game.
Facts.
There are some teams in college basketball that can afford a little bit of an off night from their front line, and they've got veteran guard play that will pick up the slack. I don't see Tennessee having a ton of success in March if their front line does not consistently bring it. Doesn't always have to be Estrella. It can be Dwayne Brown, who I think is getting better. It can certainly be Jalen Carey, who's had his performances and really won the game against Houston for Tennessee. Mm-hmm. So it's not all on JP alone, but we've seen how different this team looks when the forwards don't match the intensity of their opponent. And you've seen now in back-to-back games, not only just matching the intensity of the opponent, but taking it to the opponent in the way that you played on the glass. I thought JP Estrella was terrific. Terrific last night.
The point that you're making, I want to hammer it down with you, is this. Like, I love Jalen Carey as a player. I think he has a great play, a great space for this team when it comes down to, being able to bang in the post the way he does, going to the boom room like Ron Slay says, right? But the thing is this, you got to have somebody that plays above the rim often. And Jalen Carey doesn't do that well enough when teams got big on him, when they can cover him, or he can't go. Yes, or
which
double
they were
him,
doing a little bit.
Or they can't give him the interest pass, or he can body guys up. JP Estrella can take his size with that baby hook shot, with being high above the rim, because the other part of it is, though, too, is Felix Akpara isn't going to give you much offense. So to your point, it has to be JP Estrella.
Dunks and lobs. 100%.
Dunks and lobs and rebounds. That's his game.
Rick Barnes, after the game on JP, said he likes these types of games. You should have heard him in the huddle before overtime. He was ready to go. There's still so much for him. He's missed a lot of basketball. I think that is relevant on JP Estrella, who missed all of last season. If he can be the best version of himself, all of a sudden, Tennessee's goals when they beat Houston and when they looked like a top 10 team at the beginning of the season, suddenly those goals start to become more realistic. If you have a big 3 that is consistently performing of Jacoby Gillespie, Nate Ament, and JP Estrella, this team can be really dang good. Now JP Estrella has got to replicate that performance against Georgia, who has got good frontline players, not as deep, maybe outside of Cyril. Now how do you replicate that performance against Devin McLaughlin?
Right.
Against Thomas Houck and Ruben Chinyelu, against these teams that can match and maybe even exceed your level of physicality and grit on the boards. Remains to be seen, but really good sign that JP Estrella has stacked 2 games in a row.
And also,
he's the X factor.
For sure. And Nate Ament playing his part as well.
He's so good, man. I see the vision now. I'm sorry I ever doubted you, Nate.
The old Drewski.
He gets it. And even showing emotion. Like Nate's dapping up fans and is starting to come out of his shell a little bit. Like, that's what happens when you're rising up over Blue Cane and just perfect defense. No, let me just put this ball way over my head and just shoot it right over you.
He playing with I wish you would.
Because he physically, and the way he is built, and he's got God-given traits that not a lot of human beings have, of that size to have that level of quickness and have that high release of a jump shot. Jimmy Dykes always says it. I know Slay's talked about it too. That's an unblockable shot against another 3. Like, you've got to have a long 4 or 5 that can really rise up with you on that. That is an unblockable shot, the way Nate Ament can catch and release on that.
And he's setting himself up for success, too, when he knows how to drive and protecting the ball and going up. And to your point, at all costs. Oh, my bad, just a caller. He just dropped off. At all costs, though, too, he's going to go up high on him. And his skill, to me, I think, is elite because he'll still use the backboard on those mid-range shots. He'll still, go against guys and use his body to get a foul against them. Like, his ability to draw fouls, I think, is clutch, which I'm glad he's got got his free throws. By the way, 60% as a team shooting free throws.
Not good. Not good. Can't happen. Can't happen. It's going to get this team beat in a game they have no business losing. Yeah.
At the guard, like,
I know.
Big's missing.
I know.
Oh my
Let's quickly get Larissa in here before we get Coach Mack on the other side. What's up, Larissa?
Morning, Larissa.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good
How's
morning.
it going?
We are
happy
excellent.
day, happy Thursday, or should I say happy Solar Day? I'm so looking forward to this press conference. I mean, this man is about the business. And again, he seemingly is very strategic and clearly has a lot of plans in place that we don't know about. But it's just very exciting. And I had called cover too yesterday. And I was like, you know what? If you're not excited about this, you don't have a pulse. I mean, this is, it gives you a little zhuzh. So I just want to know exactly how does he like his hot chicken? And somebody tell him exactly some of the best places to eat. And pivoting a little bit with the whole Belichick, we all know what it is. Yeah. We all know what it is. And it's wrong. It was personal. And this is where, folks, be kind to one another and stop taking your personal views and making business decisions. Because the man should have been, it was just wrong. So I'll just leave it at that. But I want you gentlemen to have a great day. I'm so glad everyone's thawed out. And Will, do you have power? No.
I do as of last night. I do, yes.
Oh, blessed. Okay. So
yes.
What'd you say the other day? You were wearing everything you wearing a lot of clothes.
I had 3 pairs of socks on as I was sleeping the other night. We're very thankful for NES and the good folks who have got the power turned back on.
And you know what? God bless them, because those guys and girls, they did it. They
Absolutely.
did the thing.
No doubt.
And they're still doing it. But anyway, you guys have a beautiful day and happy Solid Day.
Absolutely.
Talk to you guys later.
All right.
Happy Solid Day.
Appreciate the call. There's Larissa in Nashville.
So high-spirited.
Coach Mack joins us coming up next. Titans Radio's head coach joins us Thursdays at 7:20 here on Ramon and Will. And this morning on the day where we meet the new Titans head coach, Robert Saleh. We speak with Coach Dave McGinnis of Titans Radio, presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Coach Mack, good morning. How are you?
Matt, good morning.
Hey, Will. Hey, Mo. Everybody got power now?
We do now.
We do.
I do as of 4 p.m. yesterday.
Oh, man.
Well, that's a plus. Mine flickered off and on for a while, but it never went completely out. I
Good.
mean, that's big props to people here at NES for getting that stuff up.
No doubt about it.
Absolutely, Coach Mack. You stay cool you stay warm for the most part, Coach Mack? Do you drive?
Yeah,
in
it
this?
just flickered on and off. It wasn't brutal. I mean, of course, outside the cold is brutal. The ice is brutal.
Yes, it is. Coach Mack, I mentioned something early in the 6 o'clock, too. I was just, telling my speed that I came in driving this morning. I was going with the flow of traffic, Coach Mack. Don't fault me, fault the people around me, okay? I didn't get in trouble. They got me in trouble, Coach Mack, because I was going 80 miles per hour this morning. I told Will, I said, I think in West Texas, man, they got street signs, man, that say 85 miles per hour. Is that true, Coach Mack, in West Texas, or was I lying?
That's the speed limit on the interstate.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I can imagine, Coach Mack. That is.
Yeah, you go to West Texas, clear across to El Paso. Once you get going out there, I mean, go as fast as you can. If you're not, you're in the way.
You in the way. I like that, Coach
I love
Mack.
it. Coach Mack with us, presented by Two Rivers Ford. Mack, what stands out to you about Brian Daboll's resume and what he can bring to the Titans offense?
Well, I mean, he's a quarterback developer. Plus, he's adapted to different types of quarterbacks, but most of his quarterbacks have been, athletic dudes. That can do things with their arms and with their legs. The thing that I like about this group that he's putting together, and Daboll is one of them, is that time on task, and you can't manufacture the experience. And this is a very experienced group. It looks like he's putting together.
Mac, what was the hallmark of the New England offenses that Brian Daboll would have been a part of with Bill Belichick? And I know he's probably changed a lot of his system and scheme over time, but where he cut his teeth, Mac, and those offenses that you would have coached against as well, what was that offensive system under Bill Belichick and Brian Daboll, Josh McDaniels, those guys? What were they known for?
So they were known for changing every week, depending on who the opponent was. Very, very adaptable. And that was something that you always had to get prepared for when you were getting prepared for them, because they would always have some different wrinkles for you as a way to attack you than they did somebody else. I mean, that's I guess I would say very, very malleable is what I would say about them. And they understood the nuances. The other thing that they always understood that you had to be very, very careful of. If you had a weak spot, they're going after it, but they go after it in a lot of different ways. So it was those guys knew what they were doing clearly.
Coach Mack with us this morning talking some Titans. Coach Mack, we brought that up yesterday speaking about Daboll and that era he was in with New England, Coach Mack, and how they undress you. The same thing that you said, Coach Mack, is the same thing that we talked about a little bit yesterday, where they will find what we used to call the candy bar, the weak link, with their their pre-snap motions, Coach Mack, seeing if you're in man or zone, see if guys are where they're supposed to be at. Coach Mack, it takes a lot of discipline to be in that style of offense, and you got to hammer that stuff down by a lot of reps and a lot of tape more than anything, Coach Mack, when you're dealing with those types of guys, correct?
Yeah, and it's not only just man or zone declarations. It's being able to attack different people in different ways, and that's extremely important because, as you well know, it's all one-on-one matchups basically in this league when you get down to it. If you want to get to something that flips the ball game, and they would figure out a way. I mean, if you say you had a corner that you were flipping, or that you had a dominant corner, they would always figure out a way to go away from him, or they go figure out, as you call it, a candy bar, how to manipulate things so that they were always attacking that spot.
Even as an offensive player that didn't have to play against those offensive teams per se, Coach Mack, it became frustrating because you had to ask yourself, at least we did as an offensive line, how do they keep getting away with this as far as understanding the rules and the detail on each and every play and when to run it, Coach Mack, how to set up a defense when you're going to do a flea flicker pass. It's been numerous times I've played against that style of offense, specifically those mid-2010s like Patriots team, to where Coach Mack, they just wouldn't miss. They will hit you with the 2 tight ends. They will hit you in the running game, Coach Mack. And you just have to, like I said it yesterday with Will, like that style of offense, and Brian Dable's a part of that, they don't allow the defense to catch up with them, Coach Mack. How do you adjust to that type of stuff as a defensive play caller and as a coach that's coaching that style of ball that they were playing?
Well, you can't. First thing you gotta understand when you start drilling tape and you start working with your players is if a lot of different motion and sets and looks, you don't chase it. You get static. And then you have rules. You play what you call same as, and so regardless of what they are doing, you've got a way to line up as to where you're not chasing it all the time. Because if you do that, you end up as a signal caller on defense. You end up chasing calls, so you're always one call behind, or you end up chasing it on the field and you're one play behind.
That leads to a lot of success, Coach Mack, is all I ever seen. For a quarterback, we spoke about this a little while too, Mack. For the runners that Brian Dable has had in his offense, whether it's Jalen Hurts, whether that's Josh Allen, numerous other players that he's coached, Jackson Dart as of late, is that why you're allowed to run the football as a quarterback? Because you know where everybody's supposed to be on those plays, barring a blitz or something like that, Coach Mack? It gives the quarterback the freedom to be the 11th athlete on the field with his legs?
Yeah, and the quarterback's not going to be a primary ball carrier, but you need a quarterback that can understand if people are avoiding gaps, especially if they're trying to play man-to-man against you and their back's turned, that you've got to take advantage of that, at least to move the chains.
Coach Mack with us, presented by our friends at Two Rivers Ford. Mack, when people describe Robert Saleh's defense as a one-gap defense, what does that mean, one-gap defense?
Well, I mean, it's one. Are you talking about 4-3?
Yeah.
4-3 alignments?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about that? With a 4-3 alignment, is basically with a one-gap defense. You got 4 men down front, starting over on the tight end side. It's a 9 technique outside the tight end, 3 technique outside the strong side guard, shade, which is in between the center and the other guard. Then a 5 technique on the open side end. But your linebackers and safeties are very important because they've got to be able to stack those gaps. Because if you just play with 4 down there, and there's 8 gaps, there's 7 of those linebackers behind. So the Mike backer, if you're just playing straight up, if you've got a dot back, the Mike linebacker's got to stack the shade. He's got to stack because he's got to be able to move from A to B. All right. Now your Sam linebacker's got to stack the 9 because he's got to, depending on what you're going to do with the 9 technique, if you're going to keep him outside, he's got to fill the C gap. And then over there on the Will backer, he's got to stack the 5 technique. And then they've got to move in conjunction like they're on a rope, depending on which way people go, and also depending on where, if it's a single back set, which way you are setting the back. And then if you're bringing the safety down, even from a too high look, to be able to get your 8-man front, then they have to either, the safety's coming down strong, then you have to bow the linebackers. The backer's over weak, comes down on the open side. You've got to boss them, move them over strong, and then you can play games with that 9 technique and that 3 technique by either spiking the 3 technique from the outside to inside the A gap, or taking that 9 technique and stunning him down inside and scraping that same linebacker. How much more you want?
That's great. I love this. Ramon's got a big smile on his face talking ball like this morning.
I enjoy this.
This is great. I'm curious, Mack, what that means for the defensive linemen as well. How will this defense set up Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat to be the best versions of themselves?
Well, Jeffrey Simmons is a premier 3 technique in this league. That's what he is. And T'Vondre Sweat is a quintessential shade. So it works It works perfectly for those two. When you've got two like that, as I say, it starts there, being able to get them in their gaps, but getting the linebackers lined up properly and playing off of them. But they got that set with those two people.
No doubt. Coach Mack, something a little, NFL based. And when you were coaching Coach Mack and the game that's the Pro Bowl, did you ever imagine that it'd get to this point, or
No.
When did it change in the understanding of this, Mack?
Stop. The years I coached at the Pro Bowl over in Hawaii, I mean, it was serious.
Yeah.
I mean, we played a game because, first of all, $15,000 for the winner, $10,000 for the people that didn't win. And those dudes, when you go over there, everybody with them. They wanted that money to pay for those people they brought with them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's number one. I can remember coaching. I had one of the groups I had Singletary, Sam Mills, Lawrence Taylor, Michael Kofor.
Ooh.
I mean, I had dudes.
Jeez.
And we're going into the fourth quarter, and I'm rotating these people, and it was Michael Kofor's chance to go in there, who was a hell of a player. Mm-hmm. And he started going in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden Lawrence Taylor goes, "Oh, whoa. He said, "You want that $15,000?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'm going in."
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's the way I always understood it. I think, Coach Mack, we're speaking about just the health of the league. I think that game needs to go back to Hawaii. I think the idea of players like guys being able to commit to it, going across the water, is a whole lot different than you having it in Orlando or Vegas, wherever they choose to have it. That makes it a little bit more of a commitment instead of having it being a part of it. And I love the fan side of it too, but there's a component in which I think the players need to be more serious about it, and the coaches voting on who gets in legitimately needs to be explored a little bit differently.
It's a different world. They'll never do that again. They'll never play a game again. Never, ever. Contracts are too big. Injury stuff is too big. I mean, that era is over. But when I was coaching over there in the Pro, we played real games.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what it is too, Coach Mack, is guys are making more money and have the leisure to say no as well. So I'm with you.
Yeah, and clubs, got to the fact that you get somebody hurt in Hawaii that's going to miss the first part of the next season. They don't like that.
Yeah, that's true too.
Mac, when you look at the Super Bowl matchup, we'll be able to talk obviously more about this next week, but what impressed you about Mike McDonald's Seattle Seahawks and the way they were able to outlast the LA Rams in the NFC Championship?
They're just they're very, very stable. They're very sound. I mean, they don't beat themselves, number one, to begin with. And then they can match your personnel. I mean, they've got it all gets down to personnel in this league anyway. But you look at them across the board, both sides of the ball. I mean, their personnel is very, very solid, and to me, they just don't beat themselves. But the other thing is too, I mean, in New England, they don't beat themselves either. This should be a pretty good game.
And with New England, Mac, too, and just the way they were able to adapt to the weather conditions and kind of hold on in that fourth quarter. What impresses you about that New England defense, Mac, with Zach Kerr, Terrell Williams kind of splitting some of the duties there with Terrell's health situation this season? What has made that defense so successful this season?
They're always in the right place. And you talk about being able to game plan people. I mean, I was here with that system. I mean, that they can game plan people, and they've got things set. They get a step ahead of most offenses, just with the finer details of it. But they get ahead of offenses pretty quick. Plus, they are very, very physical consistently.
Looking forward to talking more about it next week. Coach Mack brings us the finer details here Thursdays at 7:20 on the show, brought to you by Two Rivers Ford. Mack, we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mack.
I got a whole notebook on the 4-3 I'll let you guys look at sometime.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
See you.
No
Good
doubt.
stuff.
See you,
All right.
Mack.
There's Coach Mack with us this morning, talk a little ball. I love it when he just goes into like a flow state, talking about linebackers and 9 techniques and shading here and bogeying there and all of these things.
Mack breaks it down like
Terrific.
a coach, which is what I love to hear from him in those moments. Like, he giving assignments to linebackers and where they're supposed to be at. I just remember learning that type stuff. Like I go to the Will linebacker, or I go to Mike linebacker, I go to Sam linebacker right here, and then like depending upon the play, it could be 25 belly, and we're going to the Will linebacker in those situations. But I thought we were supposed to go strong linebacker.
It's the position I would have played.
That's definitely a position you would have played. Got to hit the weight room, get those squats, and get. You know what I'm saying?
That's an understatement. Me having to hit the weight room to be a football player, that's the understatement of the century. I don't need to hit the weight room. I need to take a sledgehammer to the weight room.
Live in the weight room,
That's right. That's right. Coming up, we'll wrap up hour 2. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045. A team in college football is going to have a very different looking schedule this upcoming season. And Ramon, their fans are going to be a lot less bored. I'll explain what I mean coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Medical House Calls, man. It's a healthcare designed for your life, and absolutely mean that. Well, it's in the name, Medical House Calls, okay? You can go to Medical House Calls right now and just set yourself up with an appointment, man. They're available to you 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Same-day appointments are available for you, or next day guaranteed, man. They're trying to bring back, no, they have brought back the concierge to medicine, where you're not waiting in germ-filled urgent care rooms, appointments that don't fit your schedule, uprooting your life, kids, those schedules just to go see the doctor. No, they want to come directly to you at your doorstep, wherever that may be. I was in Hendersonville and called them when I was feeling a little bit under the weather, and they came through, administered me an IV, man. It got me all the way right. I'm telling you, from fighting the flu to performance-enhancing cocktails, their nurses will come to your door and administer an IV to help you feel better. No matter if you're feeling fatigue, persistent illness that you cannot shake, or an injury, or difficulty focusing or being productive, they have something for you. And not just that, you can get your labs done, you get your testing done, and you can also get prescriptions if you need them. Again, the website is medicalhousecalls.com, or you can call or text them at 615-838-2375.
Robert Saleh press conference day today, 2 o'clock, when you will hear from the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans for the first time since he was officially made the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans. As Ramona Will continues, back to Titans discussion in just a moment. But Ramon, there is a college football team that's going to have a fall that looks pretty different this year. Ari Wasserman of On3 tweets this out yesterday. Ohio State in 2026 will play at Texas, at Iowa, at Indiana, at USC, and at Nebraska. Oregon and Michigan will come to town in the final month of the season. He says, this is a schedule Ohio State fans can finally get excited about. Ben Axelrod of Awful Announcing, at Ben Axelrod, says, being an Ohio State fan in recent years has been such a bizarre experience. They didn't play a single interesting game between Texas and Michigan last season. You spent all year following a team for 4 days of actual intrigue. I think this is fascinating because Ohio State just kicks butt in the middle of their season, and then they'll have a tough non-conference game at the beginning, and then Michigan at the end, and the rest of their season could be an email.
That's true.
Is being good really that boring?
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be because the excitement that you get is because your team is less than and they're making it competitive when they shouldn't be. Like, I think it's commendable that Ryan Day and all the coaches that have been coaching at Ohio State, their fan base included, have allowed them either through legal recruiting or now NIL to be good. Like, that says a lot about them. I think we used to have the conversation of it, well, it's just the Big Ten and they don't have competitive teams. A lot of those teams have been lacking. But right now, those teams have somewhat made themselves better. You talk about Indiana now. You can no longer look over that team like the Northwesterns that were a part of those schedules. Like, yeah, they're still struggling to get it going, but legitimately it was Michigan and Ohio State sprinkled in with somebody else here or there. I'm with them. I think they should have a more competitive schedule. They should be asking for teams like that because when you are that good, it does get boring. It also spoils the fan base of not knowing what hard times are. Not that you want to, because every fan, I think, wants to just dominate everybody. But, like, I think the Patriots right now fans are appreciative of, like, what's happening right now because they were bad for a few years. You got to – and being competitive, I guess, like, it does get boring. Like, I'll add this even on the player side of it.
Yeah.
I remember when Patrick Mahomes came into the league, everybody that I knew that didn't have to play him loved him. Patrick Mahomes is seen now more of a villain.
Oh,
Too much winning.
Well, and at the beginning of his career, too, he was matched up with Tom Brady in an AFC Championship game, and that was America's team.
Yeah.
Quickly became America's villain. As a player, would you prefer to have more of the schedule they had this past season where you really kind of have two important games? Or would you rather be pushed at Texas, at Iowa, at Indiana, at USC, at Nebraska, Oregon, and Michigan in November?
The cupcake schedules in college, I feel like, puts a black eye over them more than almost any other league, though. And it's because when you go into the next level, people are questioning, who did you play? Did you actually play against these guys in the SEC? Did you actually play against the big dogs?
The difference between the easy schedules and the hard schedules in college football is a wide gap.
Yes.
The difference between the easy schedules and the hard schedules in the NFL really aren't that different at the end of the day.
It's not, because
maybe with the exception of New England this year, who played a historically easy schedule.
Guys can't wait to say, if I played that schedule, if I played in that league, then, whatever. I think when you're hardened for the battle as far as like who you play week in and week out, like we say in the SEC, there is no off days. Like there's no off weekends when you got to play your opponent. I still think that holds true. I knew going to the next level that I was prepared to see that type of competition day in and day out, week in and week out to, to harden me for what it was I was about to go into.
Right.
The Ohio State side of it does become questionable, not the athletes, but you ask the question, who did you play? Like, we're looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. right now, somewhat have some struggles because, either that's him because he can't catch the football or he's meeting DBs that are the 1% that you can't just catch over each and every weekend.
To be fair to Ohio State receivers, though, he's maybe the only Ohio State receiver that's not true. Met expectations for their pro potential in the last, decade.
Of all athletes, him? You know what I'm saying?
Right. I wouldn't have expected it.
But I think they're well coached, though. Well, the dudes that I've been around from Ohio State, They come in ready to go, though, and I think it's because their confidence is so high because they have dominated their entire careers.
I do think it's interesting because it feels like the pendulum has now swung to the other extreme. This is an Ohio State team this past season who, like we mentioned, started the season with a 14-7 win against Texas. Then sandwiched between that and the Michigan game on the road on Thanksgiving weekend. Had Grambling, Ohio, at Washington, which that's a team that definitely got better as the season went. Mm-hmm. And Devon Williams, their quarterback, is a legit quarterback. And they didn't, I mean, they proposed a little bit of a threat, but not much. All right. Minnesota, they beat 42-3. At Illinois, who I think was expected to be better by a lot of people, including myself. At Wisconsin, Penn State, who stunk. At Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and then Michigan and Indiana. You kind of had a 2-game season. Mm-hmm. I imagine that it is harder to correct some things on film in a 42-3 win against Minnesota. It's harder to learn some lessons.
Yeah.
It's harder for guys to sit up a little bit straighter in the meeting rooms when you're trying to correct technique and correct run misfits when, like, well, my defensive lineman blew up the guard anyway, so it didn't matter if I misfit the run because we cleaned that up because we're just so much better than our opponent. Like, there are things that kind of slide under the radar a little bit. So I imagine if you're Ryan Day, you're happy about a little bit more challenging of a schedule. I think expanding this beyond just an Ohio State conversation, I think coaches, to your point, like challenging schedules. Mm-hmm. But at what point does that schedule work against you and just beat you up? And I know we have a commenter in the chat that's like, are we really counting at Nebraska as a tough game? I mean, I think it's a game you can't guarantee a win in.
That's what the percent
That's the point, right? Like, when you play Minnesota, when you go to Wisconsin, like Ohio State at Purdue, you could show up with your C- game and win by 2 touchdowns. Right. I don't think your C- game is comfortably winning at Nebraska, I think is the point. So that, I think, is the interesting thing now, Ramon, for college football coaches in 2026. What is the balance between learning about my football team, trying to challenge them and maybe get their butts kicked early in the season, yet still maintaining a playoff resume that gets me into the postseason, but then also not scheduling too tough of a schedule that far out, because I don't know what my conference schedule is until a year or two before I play it. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to front load my schedule with Texas, Oklahoma, like the difficult out of conference teams, because, well, then I might get a schedule like this one where you go to Iowa, to USC, to Texas, to Nebraska, and then Oregon and Michigan come to town. Like that's a lot for Ryan Day with new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith joining the staff.
Which is going to be fascinating to see how his receivers and everything else evolve in that, too. I'm very interested in this. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you, a team that was hurt by that type of scheduling will, not to their own undoing, because I think they attempted to make a challenging schedule, but it is a team that felt the most snubbed this past college football playoff series, Notre Dame. Notre Dame, first 2 games of the season, 0-2. Right? Miami, who played in the national championship, and Texas A&M that was in the CFP. Like, you don't get an opportunity to back that up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Other than USC, they didn't have a ton of big challenges after that. I mean, what about Vanderbilt?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Vandy got unlucky with its conference schedule in that LSU was supposed to be a top 10 team coming to town.
It was.
And Texas, even though they lost to him, was supposed to be more of a national championship contender. Missouri was a top 25 team. And the injury to Bo Prabula kind of affected that game. Even Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech was supposed to be a mid to high level ACC home and home. And Virginia Tech's barely sniffing a bowl game.
And they're firing a coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, to your point, like, I'm looking at this schedule that Notre Dame had. This is why people asked them to get into a conference. Purdue, they put 56 points after them. Like, looking at like the back end of this schedule, 70-7 against Syracuse, Will. And then the last game of the season, which I get it, is Stanford, but they beat them 49-20.
Yeah, and that was a very different Syracuse team, too, than the one Tennessee saw in Atlanta to start the season.
They won 10
Steve
straight.
Angeli got hurt.
But at what cost at this schedule?
Right. Coming up, Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll are reportedly making one of their most important hires. It's going to help an important position group for the Titans, Ramon. It could also add a logical free agent to an important Titans position group. I'll make the case for one Brian Daboll connection coming up next.
8:01, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans offensive staff under head coach Robert Saleh and offensive coordinator Brian Dable starting to take shape as 3 hires took place yesterday. The Titans are hiring Shea Tierney as quarterbacks coach and Carmen Brasillo as the offensive line coach, who according to PFF had the 9th best offensive line last season with the New York Giants. Both Tierney and Brasillo were on Daboll's staff in New York. The Titans are also hiring Ravens wide receivers coach Greg Lewis to the same role in Tennessee. Coming up later today, Robert Saleh speaks for the first time to the media as Titans coach for his introductory press conference, which takes place at 2 o'clock this afternoon at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. You can hear the presser right here on 104.5 The Zone. And Rick Barnes gets his 850th career win last night as Tennessee basketball escapes in overtime, beating Georgia 86-85 in Athens. Senior guard Jacoby Gillespie led the way with 21 points, and the Vols had 4 or 5 starters reaching double-digit points. The Vols are now 4-3 in SEC play. This Saturday, they'll return home to face Auburn on Saturday with a 7:30 p.m. tip-off. Tonight, the Nashville Predators are back on the ice in New Jersey as they take on the Devils in their first meeting of the season. Puck drop is at 6 o'clock. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show getting started on Ramon and Will. Glad you're with us. Hope you stick around. 2 more hours to go. Sam Monson going to stop by at 9:20.
Big Sam.
Ramon's got a question about Cam Ward and how everything could revolve around him, or maybe he revolves around everything else. That I'll let Ramon explain to you coming up in 15 minutes. I think it's a great discussion that we'll dive into. Your phone calls welcomed at 615-737-1045. F&M Bank chat open as always on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. The Titans are filling out their coaching staff as today Robert Saleh will meet with the media. You'll hear from him at 2 p.m. And according to multiple reports, they got a couple more offensive assistants, Ramon, that are being signed up. Mike Garafolo says yesterday that the Titans are hiring Shea Tierney as quarterback coach. Served in the same role on Brian Dable's coaching staff, working with Daniel Jones, Jackson Dart, Tommy DeVito, Russell Wilson, and more. And his relationship with Dable goes back to 2017 when they were both at Alabama. Worked with him in Buffalo as well. So a 4th stop, Bama, Buffalo, New York, and Tennessee for Shea Tierney and Brian Dable. Jordan Raanan says that Carmen Brasillo is going to follow Dable from New York to be the offensive line coach here. PFF loved the Giants' offensive line this past season, ranked them 9th best in the NFL after struggling in 2024. That group was 4th in pass blocking efficiency, according to PFF. There is one player, Ramon, who thrived for the Giants, who is a free agent on the offensive line this year. Right tackle Jermaine Illuminor gave up pressure on 3.3% of pass plays, the best rate among right tackles all season. Illuminor has followed Carmen Brasillo now to 3 straight teams. Carmen Brasillo coached Jermaine Illuminor with the New England Patriots. Then he became a Las Vegas Raider, where Brasillo was offensive line coach, and then was signed to the New York Giants and is now a free agent this offseason. At 31 years old, Ramon, he has played both guard and tackle. Yeah. Are you interested in Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle and J.C. Latham at right guard?
We just had the hard conversation of moving J.C. Latham a 3rd time in his 3rd NFL year. I've had this thought before that JC could easily get bumped inside at some capacity, right? Like last year, just according to PFF, I'm not sure Coach Bill Callahan had his, grade sheet or sack level up, but he gave up 8 sacks. He's one of the highest penalized offensive linemen in the league this past year. I'll say this. I think you bring in Illuminor. Is that how you say his last name?
Illuminor.
Illuminor. You bring in Illuminor, if he wants to come to Tennessee, if there are no other highest bidders for him, because, again, this is another guy that can pass his message and expectation to the rest of the room. You got a player coach, essentially, or an experienced guy that's been with the offensive line coach here. What I would say is this. I think everything's on the table with that right side of the offensive line. I would go from the center over. Everything's on the table moving forward. If you think this is going to make you more successful, you do it. I know JC has been a career tackle in his life. He spent his first 2 years on the offensive line at left tackle and also at right tackle. To make that decision going into your third year with the new head coach can be problematic for him, though. Because, Coach, I'm here. It's your job to coach me up. If I can't do it by the time we get to training camp, then find a way to hide me. Find a way to make this offense work for me, because I do think going into that third year is the year that you need to be making your biggest jump professionally. I mean, he's got the next year in year 4, the decision on his 5th-year option. I don't want to label J.C. Latham as a bust. I don't think he's anywhere close to a heck. As much losing has been done here, everybody almost deserves a mulligan. But I think you bring in the extra offense, Illuminor. Mm-hmm. You bring him in just for safety, because JC went down last year, and hoping that, that hip is healed. And if he does have to go out, you at least got depth. That's just a hard answer.
I think it's a difficult question. You're right, because what is best for your total offense immediately and what's best for Cam Ward might be in conflict with what's best for JC Latham. I don't know. I think it's a difficult one. What is your view of J.C. Latham's long-term future at right tackle? Are you stunting his growth as a pro if you ask him to play 3 positions in 3 years? Maybe. Maybe you believe enough in Carmen Brasillo as your line coach to say, no, I think we could actually make this move, and maybe his ceiling is higher, and he's going to be able to teach him how to do this and that. Like, what's best for Cam Ward, Ramon, is probably signing Jermaine Illuminor, having a check mark in something that you trust fully at right tackle, because I'd rather have a question mark at guard than tackle, right?
Absolutely.
Not to diminish, obviously, what guard means, but you got to have 2 good tackles with the state of edge rushers in the NFL right now, and the amount of edge rushers that will move around, find the weak link, and rush over that guy, and not just be a left side defensive end or right side defensive end or outside linebacker or whatever you want to call it. I'm very interested. Very interested. And not a signing that would break the bank. He signed a 2-year, $14 million contract with the Giants in 2024. 5th-round pick in 2017 out of Texas A&M. I mean, honestly, if J.C. Latham was still your left tackle, I think this would be an easy plug-and-play decision. But I don't think you're going to move J.C. back to left in order to make room for Illuminor and then cut Dan Moore. I think it would be Illuminor and Dan Moore are your 2 tackles.
There's a thing with Illuminor also. If you tell him he's getting $7 a year, that's starting money. That's middle-of-the-road starter money, though, as well. So if he do come here, you're looking at a situation where that conversation gets very strong with the concern of JC being bumping inside. Here's what I would ask, I guess, Robert Saleh or Brian Dable. What are you looking for with this offensive line? Are you looking for big, strong experience?
It's a great question.
Because Illuminor does that. And the only reason I bring that up is watching teams like Patriots and how they move the tackle, who's played guard and tackle inside.
Michael Winu. Yeah.
Michael Winu. He moved inside after signing a nice contract himself. And I also look at Mekhi Becton's situation with Philly, right? Mekhi Becton's a career tackle. They moved him inside to guard, and that team benefited from it.
Big time.
So
Big time.
Are you looking for that? Especially if you move JC in, you got a wall.
Well, and Jermaine Illuminor, you know how big he is?
Huge, I'm guessing.
6'4", 338.
Oh, that's a big human.
If you had a right side of the offensive line of J.C. Latham at right guard and Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle, you have got 2 bulldozers that you can run behind on the right side. Bulldozers.
We're talking about owning people.
This is a player that's played for Brian Dable for 2 seasons and who, again, has followed new reported Titans O-line coach Carmen Brasillo to 3 different organizations back to back to back. New England to Vegas to New York.
I'm looking at Illuminor. It's like the jig is up. Like how much you need to come to Nashville.
He's 31.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
he turned 31 years old December 13th. This is not maybe a Kevin Zeitler situation where you're expecting a year, maybe 2 at most. You could do a 2 or 3 year contract. In a lot of ways, his skill set on paper, to me, Ramon, knowing a lot less about the position than you, obviously,
right.
is kind of similar to Michael Winu in who he was for the New England Patriots this year, as a guy who's played right guard and right tackle, who they shifted inside. I mean, you could even put Jermaine Illuminor at right guard.
Mm-hmm.
If you felt like you really loved J.C. Latham at right tackle, that might be an easier fix if you feel like you love the long-term potential of J.C. Latham at right tackle.
I guess for me, the question I have for JC, if I'm sitting him down, what is your best pathway to your second contract?
But again, is that the most important thing?
It has to be.
I don't think it does, because I think what's best for Cam Ward is go get an upgrade at right tackle in Illuminor. That may not be what's best for J.C. Latham, but...
Hold on, meaning JC should stay at right? Or
meaning, I think the best thing, in my opinion,
okay,
speaking for myself,
yep.
The best thing for J.C. Latham's long-term development is for him to stick at right tackle, because you're asking him to... I just think you're kind of stunting his growth if you ask him to play 3 different positions in 3 different years. But if that makes your 5 offensive linemen on the field to protect your quarterback better overall, that's what has to be most important for this organization right now.
And so that's the other side of it, though, too, because it is also J.C. Latham LLC that's involved in this.
Right.
He's got to take care of... Is he willing
to do it again?
Exactly.
Because he's already gone from one position to another that might lower what his second contract could look like. And then you move inside. Unfortunately, then you're taking another hit in what the second contract number can look like.
What he has going in his favor as far as his second contract is his numbers are already high, being a first-round draft pick.
First round talent.
His numbers high. So if he does bump in to guard the way I see it, like guards are Trey Smith is getting $25+ million a year, if I'm not mistaken, whatever his numbers are. So he's in the plus 25 range in general. The reason I bring it up as far as JC's concerned is that could also be a bargaining chip against him. Is he willing to, he does, in my personal opinion, have a say-so in this, because what are you going to do with JC? Not play him? Like, there has to be a huge amount of convincing by Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll if they do decide to say, hey, we're going to bump you inside.
Yeah. I will say this. I would rather sign Jermaine Illuminor and reshuffle either his position or JC's. I'd rather do that than draft a right tackle in Francis Mauigoa with the 4th overall pick.
Yeah. But I think Francis is easily moved inside, but you don't draft
Francis is another guy who's kind of a tweener between guard and tackle.
Yeah, you're not drafting a top 5 guard.
I mean, if you are, he better be Quentin Nelson.
He better be walking off the bus Pro Bowl.
And Peter Skoronski is starting to look like that, and he was what, the number 11 pick?
Yeah, he was. He was 11.
And he's starting to look like a
Pro Bowl caliber. Yeah.
When the Pro Bowl meant something.
Absolutely.
Right? Like an all-pro caliber, an all-NFL caliber guard in the way that he played this year.
I do think the smartest thing is to leave JC there. But JC needs to be very authentic with himself this offseason. I'm not sure if that's another body change, more of it. I'm not sure if it's also the reality of how he gave up those sacks and pre-snap penalties.
And the penalties are certainly a part of it.
Huge part of it for him.
I don't think it's a slam dunk either way to answer the question. I think you can make legitimate arguments on either side. But I do think what's best for Cam Ward and what's best for those 5 right now has to be the priority. Has to be.
Yeah.
And if that means that you move somebody inside to make room for, again, the tackle that allowed the lowest pressure rate of any right tackle in the National Football League this season for the New York Giants, playing in a lot of meaningless football games down the stretch. I think, considering the staff connection and the way he played this year, Jermaine Illuminor is certainly someone you've got to talk to and kick the tires on.
You absolutely.
In free agency.
Until your point about him moving inside at 31, hard conversation, but brother, you can come down here and compete for a starting position, a.k.a. it's your position.
And be coached by the guy that's been coaching you since 2019, and Carmen Brasillo.
And you got him in your back pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw somebody say, is that the whole is more important than the individual? Very, very true. We're talking about a man's career, though, as well.
Right.
He has to have a say-so in that.
How, right, because then you can't guarantee that the whole is still better with J.C. Latham at right guard, because J.C. Latham has a bad game, has bad drive,
growing pains,
a little disgruntled, worried about the contract stuff. All of a sudden, you might not get the best version of him. And again, is J.C. Latham good at guard? I don't know. He's never played it before. So again, that's why I say it's not a slam dunk in any direction. I do think it's something to consider. Do you believe in the whole just put your best 5 offensive linemen out there philosophy, or is there a fit positionally that's got to make sense for guys?
I do believe that, yes.
You do believe in putting your best 5 on the field.
Putting your best 5 out there.
And just making it work.
Within the understanding of what group also works the best together, too. Right? You can have a more athletic guy at right tackle that you feel like is your best athlete, but what if he doesn't block well with the right guard? Like, there's so many different components to making that statement by putting my best 5 out there. I need the best 5 that I would say first mentally will understand what the heck is going on, and physically that can work together secondarily. It's the way I look at that situation, because you can have a guy that's better blocking on the front side runs, but not a great puller, or the guy that's more athletic might be kind of light in the tail. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot that kind of goes into that. But yes, he's got a hard job in front of him, the new offensive line
Mike
coach.
Borgonzi, Chad Brink, all of them. With, again, the luxury and challenge of spending a lot of free agent money. You got options.
Good luck.
Absolutely.
I would say Illuminor also, he got 2 for 14.
Mm-hmm. Last time.
He'll either be at or below that range, I would think, moving forward.
Probably. I don't know, though. I mean, he played pretty well this past season on a $9 million cap hit, which is not breaking the bank in any context.
No.
Might have earned a little bit of a bump.
Morgan Moses.
Or at least the same.
He's a starting right tackle at that age, too.
And again, if you're following the New England model and what worked for them, with the similarities in culture builder, head coach, experience on the staff, most cap space in the league, and you upgrade the trenches and make that a priority, this would be similar to the Michael Winu and Morgan Moses signings that worked out pretty well for New England last year.
The Titans actually got a good problem right now. You know what it is?
100%.
Too much money and a lot of resources right now.
No
with
question.
A lot of newness.
Totally agree.
I don't even know if we were this
These are
optimistic
champagne
about
problems.
Callahan at this point, about this.
We were. Yeah.
How soon we forget?
Introductory press conference day is always an exciting day. And that's fine. That's not a bad thing. But you're allowed to be excited right now. You're encouraged to be excited right now.
There's a lot to be done.
But the work's about to begin.
Yeah.
Coming up, Ramon's got a question that I think is a very interesting one. And it has to do with the 2 quarterbacks playing in the Super Bowl and the model for helping Cam Ward get to a level where the Titans can be competing for spots in important games in January and maybe even February. We'll talk about it next. Thursday morning on Ramon and Will, known as Friday Junior. And today it is Robert Saleh press conference day. Your thoughts, phone calls, your questions for Robert Saleh, you can let us know at 615-737-1045. At Ramon Foster, at Will_Bolding, and at Ramon and Will, where you can follow the show on Twitter. No, we're still not calling it X.
Oh, we're not.
So, Ramon, you've got a question for the Titans, and I'm going to let you kind of lead this and pose it because you are consistent on the roles of quarterbacks.
I am.
And how we talk about quarterbacks, we kind of bypass the other 10 guys on offense on the field, and sometimes even the other 11 guys on defense about an entire team being successful versus a quarterback just leading the way. So tell the people your question, if you will, for the Titans about how they're going to use Cam Ward.
This is about as hard of a reset this team has had and needed since I've been covering it. Ryan Tannehill, boom, poof, he was already ready, made to go. Derek was here, et cetera, et cetera. You saw the benefit of the means of support that he had, the support he had around him. And looking at Cam's situation, I think with how he was judged pre-draft, some saying, hey, he wouldn't have been the number 1 overall pick. He would have been the 5th or the 10th or whatever the case may have been. And now you got a guy or guys. You got essentially 3 head coaches on this team right now. Bones Fossil, Robert Saleh, Brian Michael Dable, okay? And I asked the question, how do you get this team back good? That's my concern.
Because you got a blank canvas to paint on right now.
You do.
You can make it whatever you want it to be.
Well, even starting with the offensive line, heck, you still need wide receivers.
Receiver, running back. I mean, pretty much anything but quarterback is up for discussion. And maybe left guard is up for discussion right now on this offense.
And left tackle, I think it's secured and think that Dan Moore might stay. Right?
Probably.
Yes, more than likely.
I'd say that's very likely.
3 positions, basically. So I'm asking the question considering Robert Saleh is going to man his side of the ball and he's going to craft and build this thing up. As a head coach, I get first dibs is what he's got to say to himself as far as building this team up because that's his calling card. And I asked you guys a question last night. What's more important for the Titans moving forward? Now, this is where the fan base is probably going to be divided. And no, we want him to be good. And that's why I push back a little bit in these situations, considering also who's in the Super Bowl. And I'll give you those breakdowns on those guys too. But what's more important for the Titans moving forward? An elite quarterback or an elite roster, right? That's what you're faced with, especially within, I think, the next 5 years of this thing. And the reason it comes to mind to me, because I think they're building a good staff. I'm with Larissa and everybody else that's calling in. You're not excited about what the Titans have done so far, you probably got a pulse or you're just a negative Nancy. Even if you're a dude, you're a negative Nancy on this one, okay? I argue with a wall. The only reason I bring that up, though, too, is looking at the matchup between Sam Darnold and Drake May. It's fascinating looking at their pathways at this point. The talent for either one of these guys speak this. And this is just a quick breakdown with what the NFL has it, right? But looking at Sam Darnold pre-draft analysis, this was done by Lance Zierlein, NFL analyst. Draft projection, top 3 overall. NFL comparison, and Drew Luck. Can we be honest with you? I think he's tapped into that right now. But before he got to that point,
agreed,
he needed to be supported in Minnesota. He needs a whole lot of support still in what he's got going on in Seattle. But to say that his talent has shown up, most definitely. They had him as a Pro Bowl talent, a 7.1. Career didn't start off that way. Now, looking at the other side of this thing, too, is where I think is more advantageous to Cam Ward and everybody else that's a Titans fan looking at this. Drake May, they went with who they loved. Drake May was rated as a 6.5 out of, I guess, 10. Boom or bust potential. I think he's hit the boom.
Yeah, no doubt about it. 4,300 yards this year, 113.5 quarterback rating. He's boomed.
He's boomed. How did he hit the boom? That's the question. Growth on the job. He went in and
downfield accuracy, athletic ability.
Those things, right teachings, the right offensive coordinator, and also the right team. Stephon Diggs, his offensive line got pieced together. Kayshon Boutte became a thing,
Austin
right?
Hooper and Hunter Henry have been solid. The offensive line's been good enough.
He was allowed to grow.
Yeah.
As much credit as he's getting, And also his ability to use his legs has paid dividends for itself too. But I look at a strong team specifically right now with what's more advantageous for Cam Ward moving forward. So that's why I'm asking the question of what's most important to Cam right now. I know everybody want to see Cam go outside the pocket, do the thing with his arm, throw dots to everybody across the field. But I think it's way more important right now for him to still will be carried than it is for him to be elite at this point right now, too, because I got one pushback on the eliteness of a guy that I think everybody's clamoring over, and he's yet to show us consistently from year to year. You know who that is?
Who's that?
Joseph Burrow. Elite quarterback, weak team. Those are the results of it right there. You got to be strategic, in my personal opinion, of how and what you're asking a quarterback to do. You can have some of the best quarterback play around, right? But if you don't have the guys to support what that is and how you go about doing it, it means absolutely nothing. We're watching Bryce Young also finally get a wide receiver and somewhat of an offensive line and run game, and look what he's turned into.
Yeah, but he's much better.
A lot of fluff is brought up about the talent at the quarterback position, and I always push back on that because Sam Darnold has made himself an elite guy, and I think it's okay to say that. Drake May in the MVP conversation has made himself an elite guy, but it's also been supported by the team that they have around him, and that's where, to me, Mike Bergonzi and Chad Brinker doing their job is most important to Cam than almost anybody else. So we had that conversation before the breakup. What do you do with JC, right? If to that point, if moving JC to guard makes his team better and more talented by getting, for instance, Maui Goa or Illuminor at tackle, you got to kind of put that in front of almost everything else. I'm almost contradicting myself because here's the thing. I do believe in having more talent than a better talented quarterback. The most talented quarterback I think that was left in the playoffs was Matthew Stafford, and he got put out.
I don't know. I mean, Drake May, I think, is right up there with him. I think the challenge for Drake May has been, how did New England get to the Super Bowl? Forcing turnovers, playing defense. Drake May has historically low numbers for a quarterback that won a conference championship. So I agree with your point there that, yeah, Stafford was probably the best quarterback in the postseason, and his team is not still standing. And there are a couple reasons for that. But to that point, I think it's an interesting question on what are you asking Cam Ward to be?
Mm-hmm.
Short term and long term, I think you might get different answers to that. I do think that we get obsessed with highlights and tweetable clips on quarterbacks. And I think that is certainly true of Patrick Mahomes and of the guy that Cam Ward consistently is compared to. If you think back to 2021 and the reason why the Titans were the 1 seed in the AFC, you'll remember a game against Kansas City where the Chiefs didn't get in the end zone.
That's true.
A healthy Mahomes did not get in the end zone against the Titans defense that year. He was in the process of learning to take what the defense was giving him.
Mm-hmm.
Still pretty early into his career. And this is not an overnight fix. It's not something that Cam's probably going to master in 2026. Even the most talented quarterback maybe to ever play the game. There's no doubt Tom Brady's the GOAT, but Mahomes may already be the most talented quarterback to play the position ever in the league. You can at least have the argument. Had to learn to take what the defense gives him. Yeah. Had to learn to be a quarterback and not a thrower. The guys that go to the Manning Passing Academy can throw it 65 yards down the field and ooh and ah, all the campers. The guys that go to the combine and dress up in tights and go to Indy and make crazy throws and throw to combine receivers, like that's throwing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you be a quarterback? Can you process information? Can you get me into the right run look against a certain kind of front? Can you check into a hot route when the defense is blitzing 8? Like, are you a quarterback or are you a thrower? Cam Ward is a gunslinger. He said that about himself. He is a thrower. I want to see Cam be more of a quarterback this upcoming season. And so that, I think, is what you are asking Cam to do. And I think one area that's specific, just to not speak in kind of, untangible. Like, I want to talk in real goals and actual specific things he can do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's deep ball accuracy. It's taking the shots when they're there. I think that's the first thing you're asking Cam Ward to do. And I think the numbers and the quote-unquote elite traits and the tweetable plays and all those things, I think he is seen more as an elite quarterback if he can hit the deep ball when it's given to him. And I think that was the problem for him a lot of times this season. And it's why defense has just said, we'll just walk everybody up to the line and play tight man coverage. Because I don't trust that under pressure you can deliver an accurate deep ball to a wide receiver, Ramon, that probably doesn't have a lot of separation to begin with.
No doubt. So I see a comment in this I think is a great point to be made, too, Will, when you're asking a question. It goes, you're out of your mind if you want an elite roster without an elite quarterback versus elite quarterback and a good roster. Pats and Chiefs were dynasties where elite quarterbacks were second ballot Hall of Fame coaches.
Because you want both, obviously.
But here's the thing, though, too. There's an elite quarterback in Baltimore without an elite roster right now, right? Josh Allen is facing an elite quarterback position right now with a good enough roster, but not necessarily like an elite team. Like, give me the roster. Like, do I want both? Yes. But the issue that you have is the point that you brought up about Brady. Brady took less so that he could build up a defense and guys that were role players on his teams, and the elite side of him made those good players better. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is Wes Welker? Like, he and Tom Brady created that. You know what I'm saying? It's because of everything else defensively that we don't talk about enough. Like, to me, I think the roster matters more. Like, you got Justin Herbert right now that's begging for elite weapons around him at the wide receiver position, usually at the running back position. Like, those are the things I think of in those moments. Like, Drew Brees was good, but look at the guys that he had on his defense. Look at the kickers that they had. Look at the wide receivers that he also played with as well. Like, those parts matter. Peyton Manning, elite quarterback.
Right.
How many Hall of Famers or fringe Ring of Honor guys did he also play with that were elite? That's my point. Like, you got to decide where you're going to spend your money and how you build this up. There are plenty of elite quarterbacks that never got an elite roster that are without Super Bowl rings or at least the accolades that they should have. And we're watching it in real time with Josh Allen, Lamar, and Joe Burrow.
Commenter on YouTube says, teams blitzed Cam because they knew our line wasn't holding well enough. He said another word. He said, much less to do with Cam being able to hit deep balls, bro, but sure. I saw Cam Ward miss some deep shots that were there.
Absolutely.
You know who'd be the first one to admit that? Cam Ward.
Absolutely.
We've got to be able to criticize Cam. We can love him and love that he's the right guy, but, like,
that's why.
Come on.
Yeah, no. You were going perfect.
You're proving my point.
Like, that's why.
Cam's got to be able to meet that moment better, and he'd be the first one to admit it. Hey, I got to hit the plays that are there. Mm-hmm. How many times did you hear Brian Callahan and Mike McCoy last year say, well, we're calling shot plays. For whatever reason, they're not hitting. Whether that's somebody unable to block long enough, whether that's a receiver that's the intended target, not running the right route or not getting the right amount of separation, or whether it's the throw being there and Cam not making the throw. There were plenty of examples last season of Cam not hitting open deep shots. And in this offense under Brian Daboll, who with the New York Giants last year were 6th in average depth of target, they were targeting receivers an average of 8.1 yards downfield last season, the 6th highest in the NFL. Ramon, there's no if, there's no maybe. They are going to ask Cam Ward to throw the ball deep downfield.
Facts.
And I think that's part of what Daboll likes in Cam Ward is his arm talent and arm strength to be able to use the run game that Daboll has always had, that his teams always run the ball well, and then take your shots as a result of that.
And that's my point of us having this conversation. A lot of conversation is going to be surrounded about Cam. It's going to be about Cam and what Daboll need to be able to do for him. But I'm here to tell you, there are way more parts of this offense that need to be explored and made better before Cam is even considered, in my personal opinion.
So I think there's a follow-up question to that I want to ask after the break. If it's all about quarterback proofing the offense, are you asking Robert Saleh just to continue doing more with less? Do you spend more of your money moving forward on your offense knowing that, Robert Saleh can make it work with whoever we give him on defense? We'll dive into that. Plus your phone calls, 615-737-1045, coming up next. Ramona Willow, 104.5 The Zone. Suddenly I'm having flashbacks to the 2022 Titans season. Hearing who run it. This is like a relic from the past of Titans games.
I'm having it from middle school, high school, and college days, boy. You better watch your elbows.
Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, 615-737-1045. So Ramon asked before the break, what are you asking Cam Ward to be for the Titans moving forward? Is he the guy you put everything on and say, lead us? Elite quarterback play, and then, you're going to make superstars out of all of our team? Or are you quarterback proofing the offense and maybe get better numbers out of him by asking him to do a little bit less? Get the ball point A to point B. Here's the next question I think that comes to that, Ramon. What are you asking Robert Saleh to do, and what ingredients are you giving him? If you are constantly signing and drafting, quarterback proofing your offense, how's Robert Saleh going to feel about that? When Robert Saleh has, the desire to stand in the draft room and say, in order for me to be the defensive coordinator that you hired me to be and develop this defense, I need this first-round edge rush pick. How do you balance that with a premium that could get the most out of your quarterback as you ask your defensive coordinator and your head coach, Robert Saleh, to maybe do more with less? It's probably not that simple, to be fair. I mean, it comes down to what players are you evaluating? How do you compare the grade of David Bailey to a tackle? And the people are paid way more than we are to figure out that. But I do think it's a valid question. The implications of quote unquote quarterback proofing your offense.
Yeah. I think you sell this by saying we'll get you the ball back as many times as you need it. You know how you make that work, though, in my opinion, of watching or Robert Saleh getting what he wants defensively is this part. It's going to sound so boring, but building the trenches up.
You have to start there. You have to start there.
And I mean, specifically on the offensive side, like I think the offensive line to tight ends to your running back allows your offense to grow, meaning you're watching Houston, who I think got two young wide receivers right now, too, that, I think they had a good bit of production for what Houston was trying to do this year. You give them a running game, this team a running game continually, and an offensive line that keeps Cam in the game. Or have it to where they can just waste away clock by being able to have a ground game more or less than having to say, we need a premier wide receiver every single time. You do need an A guy at wide receiver. But I think you can get away with having a solid B and a C and a great running game and offensive line to where the defense can be your calling card each and every weekend.
And that would be more the Seahawks method.
There we go. They got a heck of an A. Who's the wide receiver two in Seattle? Kupp. A lot of experience.
Cooper Kupp. Yeah.
A lot of experience, a lot of know-how, a lot of clutchness.
But the drop-off between JSN to him is substantial.
It's huge. But what did they also have incorporated in it? Two running backs in the offensive line that knew how to run and protect for their quarterback.
And one of those running backs, also bald, shout out, is available this offseason in Kenneth Walker.
Exactly. I know. Was it ACL or broken ACL?
For Charbonnet.
Kenneth
Walker's the one still playing.
But those are the points I'm making when you're asking the quarterback to do too much. Like, Sam Darnold, to me, has reinvigorated his career in Minnesota, where he's had an elite roster.
No doubt.
Right type of play. What I'm saying is this. The elite quarterback matters, but the right type of play you're getting from him with the parts surrounding him and the support defensively and on special teams changes the entire scenario. Like, everybody's on Robert Saleh about how did he lose that much, to the Seahawks. You had a kick return. You had an offense that was able to just control the ball, and you got a defense that got the ball back from you numerous times throughout the course of that game.
And you had electromagnetic fields injuring your entire roster. I say that halfway sarcastically.
But my point is, like, everybody puts the quarterback on the pedestal. We need to reevaluate what we're asking him. And I also say this, too. If Cam don't mind the pressure, and I don't think he ever listens or thinks what we think in these scenarios. But the idea that him being the face of the league, I think, can be overplayed when you're asking for a strong team that wins football games, that puts you in a friggin' Super Bowl.
I think your point could be summed up in one sentence.
What's that?
Cam Ward is not ready to be the guy to put this franchise on his back yet.
That's it. And I think that's why Dable's smart for him.
I think so, too.
Yes.
I think so, too. 615-737-1045. Titanomics is in the borough. Good morning, Titanomics.
Morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. I don't know if you already answered this question. I just left the VA and been in and out. But my question to Saleh would be, how will you and the general manager, Buganzi, divide responsibilities on player evaluation, contracts, and long-term team building? And if he will have, the say-so in managing the players and bringing them in, like, what is your plan for building a system in a roster that fits your defensive scheme? And where does the current roster already match it? So will he be drafting the players himself? And how will he work in free agency?
Oh, no doubt.
Thank you, Titanomics. Appreciate the call.
I think that's going to be a heavy question right there for him.
I think it's valid considering they've not worked together before.
Who gets the final say-so?
Mike Borgonzi.
Yeah.
I think we know that.
Yeah.
But where do your football upbringings overlap? Because they've never worked together, Robert Saleh and Mike Borgonzi.
No.
And same with Brian Daboll. I mean, he's worked with Borgonzi for a year, but Brian Daboll has never been on a coaching staff with Robert Saleh.
No.
How do you know it's going to work?
Mm-hmm. And are the same types of players, Mike Borgonzi, that you were thinking about drafting, match what Robert Saleh wants? It's going to be fascinating to see how many people get cut or get released or get signed and guys get moved out the way to get their types in. This is as new as I've ever seen a franchise get in a while.
I think to wrap a bow on this whole hour in conversation, the moral of the story is don't ask Cam Ward to be Superman yet.
We need flashes.
Yeah.
We need to see
Make the plays that are there.
Yeah.
But I don't think this team can afford to just load up, and not that I think this was ever a thing, but like, you get a lot of needs, and just because you hired a defensive head coach does not mean you just automatically load up on defense and double down on that side of the ball. I mean, that is something that helps Cam Ward, but I think this idea that just with a different system and a lot of the same offensive linemen and maybe adding in a receiver or two, just all of a sudden Cam explodes into this elite quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback-proof the roster to where he's got no choice but to be successful in it.
Mm-hmm.
What questions do you have for Robert Saleh? More of your phone calls and reactions, 615-737-1045. I'll get to more of your questions on Twitter and kick off hour 4 next.
It's Ramon Foster for Jewel Roofing and Exteriors, man. Well, they want to build trust with you, especially this time of year with these types of storms that we've had as of late with the ice storms. I've mentioned it to you before as far as your ice jams on your roof, man, get backed up with waters. They try to melt. Next thing you know, it comes inside of your house, and you might need somebody to come by and take a look at it, see how severe it is or not for that case. And I'm here to tell you that Jewel Roofing is the team to do it, man. Robbie Van Norman is the owner of it, and I'm here to tell you this. He lives in this community, cares about this community, and never wants to take advantage of you. No, they want to build relationships with you so that you trust them. There's not many people that probably own a house that can get on top of their roof. Well, they want to be able to do that for you and trust what they tell you and not do those storm chasing, the door knocking tactics, man, whenever somebody is trying to get you to file a claim. That's not what they do. They've been here for over 25 plus years, man. They serve communities from Clarksville all the way to Murfreesboro, and they're just good at what they do for a company that you can trust, that believes on being authentic and believes on being very upfront with you, man. Reach out to the company I trust, man. You can go to jewelroofing.com. That's jewelroofing with 2 L's.com, or call them 615-868-9999.
What's up? It's Will Bowling. Are you tired of surprise breakdowns and emergency repairs on your home systems? Maybe that hits home this week, especially with the weather we've had here. I'm here to tell you, Lead Company Plus is going to get you right. It's going to give you a smarter way to care for your home. For as little as $14 a month, Lead Company Plus members receive 4 annual inspections for their heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical systems. I'm telling you here, especially in Middle Tennessee, as unpredictable as our weather can be, especially in a month like this one, making sure your heating system's ready when it cuts on, or your AC system as well when that cuts on. The cool air, the hot air, no matter what it is, You got to make sure it's ready for whatever Mother Nature throws at you here in Middle Tennessee. Members also are going to receive a deal. They're going to get 20% off on every visit, have access to exclusive discounts and promotions. Learn more online at leecompany.com/plus. Platinum Home Protection starts with a Lee Company Plus membership online at leecompany.com/plus. That's Lee Company, all you need.
.901, good morning, live from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Justin Hawkins. The offensive staff for the Titans under head coach Robert Saleh and offensive coordinator Brian Dable is starting to take shape with 3 hires taking place yesterday as they are hiring quarterbacks coach Shea Tierney and Carmen Brasillo as the offensive line coach, who according to PFF had the 9th best offensive line last season with the New York Giants. Both Tierney and Brasillo were on Dable's staff in New York. The Titans also are hiring Ravens wide receivers coach Greg Lewis to the same role here in Tennessee. Coming up later today, Robert Saleh speaks for the first time as Titans coach for his introductory press conference taking place at 2 o'clock this afternoon at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. You can hear the presser right here on 104.5 The Zone. And Tennessee basketball escapes in overtime, beating Georgia last night 86-85 in Athens. Senior guard Jacoby Gillespie led the way with 21 points. The Vols are now 4-3 in SEC play. They return home this Saturday to first Auburn with a 7:30 p.m. tip-off. Tonight, the National Predators are back on the ice in New Jersey as they take on the Devils in their first meeting of the season. Puck drop is at 6 o'clock. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
All right, hour 4. That's never happened before.
No, it's never
I was even
happened.
watching the screen in the side studio in there to see when we were back. I didn't know we were back.
Just wanted a little more time to be played on air, man. So
I was
we can hear the
talking ball
instrumental.
with Bert and Lucas, the stars of the Buck Rising show. That's all it was.
Is Bert in the pits, or is he excited about their opportunities in Baltimore? Where is he at?
He's good.
He's good.
That, I will say, they had to be cracking up yesterday with their bald caps that they were putting on, talking about the staff.
Yeah. I
Very
got
funny.
you, man.
Very
he
funny.
was talking about a hat yesterday, man. He talking about you wanted one of those big cap Baltimore.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you go out in public with that embarrassment on your head?
True.
That's me. That's my petty
It's your
side.
AFC North side coming out.
Yeah. Let's see what this year looked like for him in 2026.
Sam Monson of the 33rd team coming up in 15 minutes. 615-737-1045 for your questions for Robert Saleh. Caleb writes us, says, when you look at this roster, what sticks out to you as something that needs to be addressed? How does your coaching philosophy make each individual player buy in regardless of their position? And number 3, re-sign Corey Levin, go Mox, he says. Thank you, Caleb.
Corey Levin's the ultimate journeyman. I love that for him. Well, Iron Man at this point. He's always available and always ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is.
Solid.
Very solid.
Putting the Saleh in solid.
It's got to be exciting for him, though. One, they showed the picture of him and his family. He does have a big family.
Mm-hmm.
I know every seat on that jet was filled whenever they flew in, man. But just the images of it, though, too, and I think anybody be in this position in his spot, but he seems excited about the opportunity. Not that this is, a person that's taking advantage of a team that had a need, but the idea that he genuinely looked like he's ready for this task, man. And there's a whole lot of work that's got to get done. Like you said, he asked a question, and you said Caleb asked about the roster. Like, there's a lot to be fixed about it. There are some things you enjoy and can't wait to get to work with, but that first team meeting should be very interesting, whenever that is.
I just saw one of the wildest things I've ever seen on social media from a person that talks about the NFL.
What? Don't say Josina.
No, not Josina Anderson. Okay. Emmanuel Acho.
Sam is cool. Sam, his brother, did some PA stuff for him. Sam is super cool. Acho, nice dude.
Anyway, Emmanuel Acho.
I tried to
your
say
silence on
Acho.
Emmanuel. your silence on Emmanuel speaks
Before
volumes.
you go, before you go further and say this, it irks me, and it's not my business, and I get it, but it irks me when players get in a position to say some stuff sometimes that they don't actually believe, or they do it for entertainment. And I'm guessing that's what you're about to say he did right now. What do you say?
On the Browns hiring Todd Monken as their new head coach, quote, if I'm Shador, why am I listening to Todd Monken? What have you won on an NFL level? Well, first of all, I'm listening to the head coach because I'm a 5th-round pick and I have to. I don't have the platform to get myself moved out of there. Myles Garrett might, but I don't. I'm a 5th-round pick that's probably getting replaced.
He honestly controls your job. That's why you should probably listen to him.
If you want to play, try to listen to the head coach.
He's your coach. And the reason I didn't say anything right there, because there's the analyst side or the commentator side that Emmanuel Acho was speaking on right now.
Put it.
Right? It's that side for him, and not being in the shoes of Shador Sanders or any other player that got to listen to Todd Monken. I hate when people get on TV or radio or podcasts and say what I would do if I was in that situation because I'm the man. No, sir. Everybody's got a boss in this type of world that you live in, and coaches are your instructors on your pathway to success. You say that, they say these things as if guys have the power to make this happen. We're talking about Shador Sanders, who's a second-year player that's about to meet a rookie that's about to meet Todd Monken for the first time, that would want him to be successful. Emmanuel, that's why you need to listen to him. He's the person that, whether you want to be in Cleveland or not, kind of controls that. He could keep you as a third quarterback and never give you any reps. That's why you should probably listen to his plan. He worked with a guy that I think you respect as far as Lamar Jackson goes. That's why he's been in the league for a very long time as a coach and has had
for the
some
Browns
level.
before.
That's why, you say these things and they act as if people that speak like this and over mics like I am right now, like you want to see players just crash out. And I hate that type of commentary right there. You should walk in there and kick his desk and smack his face. Like, no, sir. That's not how it works in this league.
Well, and I think that's the funny thing is, too, that even the bottom of the barrel head coach hires that are made in the NFL are still savants in football knowledge.
It makes no
sense. And has
sense.
still earned their opportunities to be one of 32. Like even number 32 on the list of the 32 best head coaches, still no ball.
Still no ball.
Yeah.
Like, sir, one Pro Bowl doesn't give you power in this league. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. That's Pro Bowl quarterback, Shedeur Sanders.
You
Emmanuel may mean God with us, but it does not mean good takes with us when it's put next to Acho.
I constantly get asked that question. You want to go to a big network? And it's for that reason. It's ridiculous the content that you have to come up with and just how false of a reality it is for people that got to live in that world. Like Stephen A. Since we on this tangent, he goes out and he said this with so much seriousness in his voice on a big network on TV. He said, I'm serious when I say this. I'm paraphrasing. Ryan Clark should have been considered for the candidacy of the Pittsburgh Steelers head coaching job. RC, Ryan Clark ain't even coaching nowhere.
No.
Ryan Clark
we like Ryan. I mean,
that's my guy.
That's your teammate. Yeah.
Yes, like, right. No, that's my friend.
Yeah,
Ryan
exactly.
Clark is.
That's your guy.
Head coaching? I'm sure Ryan was in the back of his mind like, Steven, what the hell are you talking about? I don't want this job. Like, maybe he does. But to mention somebody that's been on television for the last 6-7 years need to be a head coach, like, I get, like, of course, Phillip Rivers has been on the couch and he got to go play in a football game. We're talking about being an actual player. Right. And then he, was about to be interviewed for one but didn't. Let's be real about how we cover sports.
Well, and this was the same week that Cam Newton was on the same show on First Take saying that, when's the last time Notre Dame was relevant?
Sir.
And the new host said, last year when they made the national championship game. Yeah, it's just, shows like that are in a tough spot right now, too, because YouTube shows and podcasts and digital originals that go beyond the surface level and go beyond the lowest common denominator have taken away the need for debate and hot take shows on legacy media organizations and channels. And so it feels like the takes have become takier.
Right.
And one of the guys on one of the shows that I like quite a bit, that's, again, digital and YouTube and podcast, Check the Mic with 33rd Team, Sam Monson, who's going to join us in 10 minutes. Like, he is a part of the group of, I think, people talking about football that are doing so more intelligently than quarterback narratives.
Right.
Like, there is a market for just talking ball and talking about things beyond the surface level of what gets you clicks and what gets you views on TikTok and Twitter. And as advertisers flock to those digital platforms as well, and then if you put a pre-roll ad for 5 seconds of something on the beginning of something outrageous Cam Newton said, all of a sudden that makes you more money, and the takes have to become takier, and then you say more outlandish things, you make more money, and rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Yeah, I just have
it's nauseating.
I have a higher standard for guys that played the game, that say these types of things. Like, I think one of the best people that do it, that I don't think has lost himself just yet, and I don't think he will. But Marcus Spears, like, he does this thing as far as the entertainment side goes with the swag goof stuff, but like covering the game is why we're following you people, and saying that type of stuff on a big network is not okay.
And I think NFL Live is one of the few analytical breakdown shows on these legacy media organization channels. I think Marcus is terrific. I think Mina Kimes is terrific.
Yep.
I think Ryan with that crew is terrific. And I think Laura Rutledge is as good as it gets. And Orlovsky, his Twitter has kind of become a little bit of a different thing. But
yes,
I still think at his core, when you watch the breakdowns, they're solid. The problem is that those don't play.
No.
And film breakdowns and X's and O's don't play as much as Cam Newton saying that Notre Dame hasn't been relevant in a while, because a hate tweet and a hate listen and a hate retweet is still a retweet and is still engagement and is still a number. And spreadsheets don't care if you were angry or happy when you retweeted it.
You know what I've noticed? I've watched a little bit of ESPN as of late. To your point about like watching people do sports and talk about sports and actually break it down, I'm not sure if it's a daily thing or they only do it on Friday, but I hadn't seen like the top 10. They do like a top 6 now. They're not even doing like 10 plays of watching the top plays of the day of the week. And I
game's
hate
gone.
that. It is.
We used to be a proper country.
The milk's gone bad, and I don't like it.
We used to be a proper country. Give me top 10 plays.
Give me top 10. I don't want the top 6. Give me top 10.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Wow.
Absolutely not. That was like the highlight of every morning. Back when you couldn't get highlights on your phone. Wake up, make breakfast, watch the top 10 plays. Usually the top 10 plays would coincide with the bus coming when I was a kid. And so, like, oh, no, I got to see number 1. All right, then I'll run down to the driveway.
You let Emmanuel Acho gaslight me this morning. I took the bait. That's cold by me.
It sparked a good discussion about legacy media and covering sports.
It should be, and it's probably people that listen to me telling me shut up and go to break. Either way, don't be a former player saying dumb stuff like that. Like, just walk in there and tell Todd Monken you don't like him. Sir, I have a job.
Sad thing is we've given Emmanuel Acho exactly what he wants and by talking about it, but
you'll never hear it here.
Separate discussion. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Sam Monson of the 33rd team and Check the Mic joins us coming up next. Ramona Will continues on Robert Saleh press conference day, the first of many for the new head coach of the Tennessee Titans. Alongside Ramon Foster, I'm Will Boulding. Pleased to be joined from Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl by our good friend Sam Monson of the Check the Mic podcast and the 33rd team at Sam Monson NFL on Twitter. Sam, how's Mobile treating you down there?
Yeah, it's good. It's an interesting year this year. Obviously, a new kind of regime running the game with Jim Nagy moving on to pastures new, and they've changed up the schedule on everybody. So practices are a lot later into the afternoon, which is good for the NFL teams because they can interview players in the morning, get the practices done, and then basically straight from the practice to dinner, and life's a lot easier for them. It's worse for everybody else, though, because the practices are later, nothing gets finished until, 6 or 7, you're hanging around all morning. So, yeah, everyone else is mad, but the NFL teams are loving life.
I like that.
Well, Sam, on today when Robert Saleh is set to meet with the media for the first time as the Titans head coach, do you like the hire? Do you like the fit for Robert Saleh with Brian Daboll as OC, Cam Ward? What was kind of your initial reaction seeing the hire?
I do. I really like the fit. I think, number one, I think that Titans job is a sneaky good job in this cycle. I think there's a lot of things going for it. Cam Ward, I think, was pretty impressive last year and got better as the season wore on, despite a pretty bad situation around him. I think sort of organizationally, the Titans are moving in the right direction pretty steadily. A new stadium's coming online soon. I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about that Titans job overall. And then I think Saleh is a good second chance candidate head coach. I think he was kind of the fall guy, the sacrificial lamb with the Jets. I don't think he personally did a particularly bad job there. In particular, his defense was very good and sort of fell apart pretty rapidly after he got booted out of the building. I think he does a good job schematically. I think we've seen that both with the Jets, with the 49ers, either side of his Jets tenure as head coach. I think he's a good sort of set the culture type of coach as well, which is important for your young quarterback in your organization, kind of building up from the ground up. So, yeah, I think, hiring the offensive side will be important, and what kind of staff he assembles around him is always a hugely important part of any coach. But yeah, I think it's a good fit from a big picture, a high level point of view.
Sam Monson, the 33rd team. Check the Mic podcast wherever you download podcasts. I'm really interested in the fit with Brian Daboll, Sam, and the differences between his New England upbringing and the pre-snap motion, and maybe the way that with Tom Brady and with Bill Belichick, who's not a first ballot Hall of Fame coach, I don't know if you heard about that, the way that all worked back then, to the way he adapted for Jackson Dart and Josh Allen, and this year the Giants running less pre-snap motion than anyone else in the NFL. What intrigues you about the fit between Brian Daboll and Cam Ward, and how do you see Cam maybe fitting into what Daboll's already done, or how do you see Daboll maybe adapting to Cam Ward's strengths?
Well, the second part there, I think, is the really interesting part. What does Daboll do to build an offense around Cam Ward? How does he see Cam Ward? What does he imagine his skill set to be? Because one of the most intriguing things, I think, of the Jackson Dart version of this offense last year was from day one, they decided that Jackson Dart basically belongs like in the Tim Tebow bucket in terms of this guy is going to be like a workhorse power runner. Like, we're going to deploy him in the run game. He's going to be a huge part of the designed run game. He's going to carry the ball a lot. And we're really going to lean into that. We're going to call plays exactly like that. I mean, I never really saw that coming from his college tape, but immediately that was how they were calling the game plan and drawing things up in New York. So meanwhile, you got Cam Ward, and all the way through last season, we were kind of saying it feels like they could tap into his athleticism and his rushing ability a bit more. And, maybe not as much as the Giants were doing with Jackson Dart, but lean on it a little bit just to give him, some kind of training wheels to try and keep that offense afloat and let him develop more as a passer, just keep him on the field. So I think that's going to be interesting is how he views Cam Ward, how he wants to deploy him in the game, and what type of offense this actually looks like with a quarterback with that skill set.
We're joined by Sam Monson. Check the Mic podcast and the 33rd team this morning down at the Senior Bowl. Sam, when you view this team and what Daboll is coming from, he's coming from Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbull, who he seemed to have loved, with the run game attached to it. Do you view the running backs here, Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard, as a position that needs to be upgraded, considering how he was salivating over Cam Scatterbull and the potential of what he could do to this offensive side of the ball with the roster and Daboll?
I really like those guys as a pairing. Now, look, running back, it's a position with a really short shelf life. You know, it can be, you can get guys like Cam Scatterbull later in the draft. You know, I'm always a fan of take a swing, grab a day 3 running back basically every year, you know, see if you find somebody, see if you find a young, active talent that you can add to the backfield and maybe bring some juice in. But if they did nothing, I still think that would be a really good 1-2 punch and a tandem for this offense to work with. But yeah, I don't think you ever rule out the idea of just adding somebody to the backfield in any given draft just because it is that type of position where, you know, these guys can go off a cliff very quickly in terms of when they start to decline, but also because those first couple of years for a running back are potentially when they're at their most valuable and most dynamic. And if you're taking them on day 3, it's not costing you much.
With that being said, we had a long-ish conversation earlier about J.C. Latham. Giving up 8 sacks allegedly this year, had numerous penalties, and the discussion of what do the Titans do? Do they keep him at right tackle, 2 years in a row at the same position, or do you move him inside? Sam, how do you evaluate J.C. Latham this past year, and what do you think about him moving forward?
Yeah, I would give him another year at right tackle. I think, it's tough when you're taking these guys out of college, you're flipping them positions, you're flipping them back. It's a difficult transition to begin with, just jumping from the college level to the NFL level where everything is harder. And then when you're also asking the guy to do it whilst constantly moving from one side of the ball to the other, I think that's adding to the difficulty. I think he did get better year 1, year 2. It was an improvement. Obviously, the sack total wasn't necessarily better, but I think he was better in terms of how much pressure he gave up overall. I think he was a lot better in the run game. I think you saw a lot more confidence from him back on the other side of the ball. So I don't think he's a liability at this point at right tackle. If he doesn't get any better, if you're still giving it up 7-8 sacks a year, that's definitely an issue and sort of caps how good he can be. But I would give him at least 1 more year at right tackle to see if we can take another step forward in development before we even start thinking about potentially moving him inside the guard.
Sam, I'm going to make this next statement, and of course it's the answer, right? When it comes to me, I'm very biased when it comes down to sacks. Do they matter or do they not? Because I can believe you sack a quarterback on second down, well, guess what? We get a first down. It does not matter. Sam, it matters because the defensive players get paid per sack, allegedly. The elite ones, okay? It's $1 million a sack is what I heard it costs in free agency or what it charges. Sam, does it actually matter, sacks?
Well, I think they're really important plays, but where you get into trouble is when you're sort of assigning them to an offensive lineman, because if you get beat, if you're an offensive lineman, right, and the edge rusher beats you in 1.5, 2 seconds, really clean around the edge, whether that becomes a hurry, a hit, or a sack is not in your control, right? That's on the quarterback. That's right. On what's on the other side. That's on where else is the pressure at the same time. So that's the problem with saying, well, this offensive lineman gave up, 5, 6, 7, 8 sacks. It might be true, right? They might all be sacks that were absolutely sort of on him. But if the quarterback was a different player, or if the left side had held up better at the same time, like that number could change with nothing that the offensive lineman does being any different. That's the problem, I think, when you start using that number and just say, look, this guy gave up this number of plays. It could immediately be cut in half by changing something else, right? And that's the problem, I think, with using that number and sort of projecting it forward and evaluating how good or bad an offensive lineman is.
Sam Monson with us this morning from Mobile. Check it in with him. The 33rd team. Check the Mic podcast, available wherever you download podcasts. Sam, when you look at the Giants on the offensive line and the reported hire the Titans are making as at O-line coach with Carmen Brasillo How big of an improvement to you did that Giants offensive line make, and how big of a get is this for Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll as well, kind of as the head coach of the offense on this staff?
Yeah, I think it took a big step forward last year. Actually, it's kind of one of the quietly, under talked about stories last season was how much better that Giants offensive line got. It went from, one of the worst units in the league for a couple of seasons to a pretty solid group last season without a whole lot changing in terms of personnel. Like, they didn't overhaul that group. It already made moves and made some changes in the past, but it was largely the same group that it had been. And I think most of the players on it took significant steps forward last season. So yeah, I think it's a good signing, and another part of I like the coaching staff that Robert Saleh is putting together as well.
Sam, what about Robert Saleh's scheme makes inside linebackers play so well? Because he has had a who's who of guys he's gotten paid at the inside linebacker position. And I imagine Cedric Gray, after the season he had this year, has got to be excited to play for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of it is, he's usually had a pretty solid front four. He's usually had guys that can get after the quarterback, and that frees up the linebacker to not have to cover so much ground, to know that you're going to get pressure up front. Now, that changed a bit in San Francisco this year where Nick Bosa gets hurt. The front four is decimated in terms of injury, in terms of talent, and suddenly the linebackers got to be a lot more active. But I think Robert Saleh understands the value of what those guys can do. League-wide, it's become this sort of devalued position, but good linebackers are still really important players in a defense. It's not that they don't make an impact. Obviously, Fred Warner is one of the best examples in the NFL of that. Not everybody is Fred Warner, but those guys can make a huge difference in your defense, and I think Saleh understands that and deploys them in a really good way.
Sam, when you look at Robert Saleh's defenses, man, the front seven are always elite. The edge rushers, linebackers check the box every single time. What leads, in your opinion, I guess, to a defensive coordinator lacking on the back end with his secondary or the production that they have? Is it the talent? Is it scheme? Or how do you kind of evaluate that, I guess, that one black eye of a Robert Saleh's defense with the eliteness of his corners and safeties?
Yeah, I think the issue in coverage is you hear a lot of the times analytics people talk about coverage being a weak link unit in the NFL. So it's not about how good your best players are. It's about how much of a problem is the weakest link in that group. And now, secondaries are 5 guys strong with your nickel. So if one of those 5 guys is a problem, it's difficult to hide because teams can see that. Teams will go after that immediately, and there's not much you can do to cover over that problem. You need the weakest link to still be a solid player. So I think that's the challenge for most defensive coaches in the NFL is who is my weakest link in the secondary, and how do I hide that? How do I cover over that crack and try and avoid it? I think that's definitely the area that Saleh's had the most trouble with in his career. But it is a difficult thing to try and fix unless you have the talent.
Somebody that he'll have to run into is Liam Cohen and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Fascinating relationship that they have. I'm not sure how the handshake is going to work after the game in 2026, but what has Liam Cohen done in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence to kind of get that team going in the right direction?
Yeah, well, they have a really creative run game. I think that was evident from sort of day one when Liam Cohen arrived. The thing I think that will be really interesting to see is, has Trevor Lawrence now finally turned the corner, or was this just another false dawn from him? We've seen a few of them in his career where he's put together a run, and suddenly it's, here's the real Trevor Lawrence. He's arrived. The switch has been flipped. And then it goes back again to just being a sort of average to above average quarterback. This was the longest run, I think, of him looking like a really, really good player. So, and Liam Cohen obviously has a history of getting the best player out of some quarterbacks. So I think you can reasonably look at this and expect it to continue. And if it does, this Jacksonville offense has got all the pieces to be really, really good. It's a solid offensive line. They've got weaponry all over the place at receiver, particularly if they keep Travis Hunter involved in that, rather than moving him to be a sort of full-time corner going forward. The running backs are talented, and then Trevor Lawrence is incredibly talented as a player, but also a huge part of that run game. He's one of those athletic quarterbacks that does make a difference, scrambling, making plays on the run. So if this is real, if the back end of this season with Trevor Lawrence is who he's going to be going forward, this is going to be a really good offense.
Yes, it is.
Sam, on the way out, do you have one big takeaway so far from Senior Bowl practices, whether it's a player or two that you've liked or not liked, or a position group that's been solid? What's been your key takeaway so far in Mobile?
I think the story of this week so far has been Division III wide receiver Tyron Montgomery, John Carroll University. This guy, I think he looks like the best wide receiver here at the week.
Wow.
Like he's come from a small school and isn't just, hanging, isn't just not embarrassing himself. Like, he's standing out. He looks like the best guy there. He's beating the better corners that are at this thing, and he looks absolutely phenomenal. And he hasn't played football for that long. I think he's only been playing the game for like 3 years or something. He looks fantastic.
Jeez.
Love it. Good to know. From the Woodlands, Texas, Tyron Montgomery. Sam Monson joining us this morning. Check the Mic is live on YouTube. It is available wherever you download podcasts. Great listen with Sam and our good friend Steve Palazzolo. Appreciate you as always, Sam. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Sam.
Anytime, guys. Take it easy.
All right. Sam Monson with us here this morning from Mobile.
That's good stuff right there. Division III?
Where is John Carroll University? Let's all guess.
John Carroll University.
Sounds like somewhere up north.
I know. I'm going to say Michigan.
Okay. I'm going to go Pennsylvania.
That's always right.
How
Justin?
about Iowa?
It is in University Heights, Ohio.
Oh, I was so close.
Of course.
Yeah, we're a lot closer to me.
Close.
Of course.
Ohio and Pennsylvania, they border each other.
They really do. That
Kind of,
sounds
right?
like a school.
Maybe?
Yeah, 6-7.
Stop
what?
it. Stop it. Stop. Are you 10?
Yes.
Times 2. Or times 3. I mean.
You got something to tell us?
Yeah, I was about to say, J-Hog. I heard Benjamin Buttons and stuff.
John Carroll University. What do we think the John Carroll University mascot is? Hard-hitting stuff here today on press conference day.
Patriots.
Bobcats.
I could give y'all 1,000 guesses each, and you would never guess this.
It's like the Chanticleers.
Ever guess this.
Ants.
Weirder. The Blue Streaks.
Dude, what kind of streaks
The
we talking
John
about?
Carroll University Blue Streaks.
Nobody did their laundry?
Bunch of Smurfs
I
running
was going to say, it's
around.
like when you drink some blue coffee a little bit too much, and
yeah. Yeah. Also, blueberries.
you trust something that does not end up being a
extra
gas. Yeah,
blue dice.
streaks.
Is this like a Mach 1?
So what is their
Mach
mascot?
2?
Like, what actually is it?
I hope it's like
Was it like a horse?
a bunch of lines. I hope that's what it is.
How would you be a bunch of lines?
That's what a blue streak is to me. Only blue streak I know is the Martin Lawrence movie. Like,
Just
what else
some
do we
slop.
what are we supposed to make of that?
Their mascot is Lobo the Wolf.
Wait, hold up.
Come on.
What are we doing here?
What are we doing?
Returned as the official mascot in late 2024 after a brief hiatus.
Lobo the Wolf?
While the athletics teams are known as the Blue Streaks, named in 1923 for their speed, Lobo represents the university with the name originating from the wolf and pot on the school's Jesuit seal.
Hold up.
So they could have been the Lobos, or they could have been the Wolves.
Nah, the
Wolfpack.
Wolves.
I'm taking the pots.
Oh, my God. Blue streaks.
All right. Let's get out of here. Coming up, final call for phone calls, 615-737-1045. If you're a John Carroll Blue Streak, call in. 615-737-1045 as we wrap up the show next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Man, nobody likes dealing with a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency at all. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost you or if it'll get fixed right or if somebody's just trying to sell you something you do not need. I know this because I used them. When you call Hiller or go to their website, the experts are going to solve your problems quickly, and the price you tell is the price that you'll actually pay with. No hidden fees or surprises on your bill when you get it. I know right now we've been going through some crazy weather, and I'm sure the HVAC systems and a lot of other stuff around your house probably isn't working the way you need it to. Well, I'm here to tell you this. Go to a company that you can trust, and that's Hiller. They believe in a 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be if the service is free, and it's exactly that. If you're not satisfied with the work they do, they will try to fix it as best they can or just simply give you your money back. To learn more about Hiller, to book with them like I do, simply go to happyhiller.com.
Roberto Will wrapping up the show on this Thursday morning. A great day to be locked into the Zone and Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch for the Robert Saleh Introduction Day. Buck Rising Show, cover 2 with Blaine and Zach, and 3HL have you covered.
Yeah.
Excited to head over there today. It'll be fun.
Got the invite too, man. Got some stuff I got to knock out though. Should be good. I think everyone feels good about this one, correct?
Yeah. Introductory press conference day is a happy day.
It is. You got your guy. I'm going to take everything that's said for the most part, man, with a grain of salt because talking this time of the year is just that. The work that's got to get done. But what I will say, I think the reputation and the vouching that Robert Saleh has had as of late, man, and the experience that he has on the job of being a play caller, being a head coach before, puts you in a different position, I hope, for the long term than what Brian Callahan had. You know, like what would this one look like as opposed to the last one that we saw just about 3 years ago with the introduction?
It's true.
I want to continue this.
Bill Bardwell this morning at ESPN.com, it's an interesting exercise, ranking every head coach hire since 2021. 1 to 37. There have been 37 hires made since 2021. He's actually got Robert Saleh of the Jets as number 14 on this list.
With his track record and what they were needing at the time, I mean... Yeah.
Right behind Mike McDaniel of the Dolphins, right ahead of Doug Peterson of the Jags.
I would have thought Peterson to the Jags made more sense, though.
Couple spots ahead of Brian Daboll to the Giants. Shane Steichen, number 16 on this list. Who do you think the worst hire of the last 5 years is in the NFL?
Worst hire?
Number 37.
Arizona and their head coach.
Which one?
The most recent one.
Jonathan Gannon? He's 26th on this list.
He's 26th.
He went 15 and 36. There's one name that is
Nathaniel Hackett?
No.
That was pretty bad.
He's 35.
Oh.
35 out of 37.
I got it. If he's not number one, this is flagrant. Worst hire?
Yeah.
Urban Meyer.
Correct.
All right.
Urban Meyer is the worst hire. One of the worst hires ever, to be honest with you. The 5 worst hires of the last 5 years, according to Bill Barnwell of ESPN.com. Urban Meyer, Frank Reich went 1-10 in 11 games as the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Nathaniel Hackett, David Culley, and Lovie Smith.
Matt Rule didn't make the top 10?
Matt Rule did not make the top 10.
Whoa.
Matt Rule is... Where is Matt Rule?
He got to be up there.
Matt Rule was hired before 2021. I think he was hired in 2020.
David Culley.
The last 5 years. Yeah, that's a name.
We have people calling up here defending him. I think he's had some relatives in this city or the state.
That's right. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that? That just seemed like a setup. But he got $17 million to walk away. Y'all fire me for $17 million right now. I'm gone. Okay? For 17 M's, man, we got some stuff to do.
Yeah, that's right. Brian Callahan, the 28th best hire out of 37 over the last 5 years, according to Bill Barnwell. Right in front of Aaron Glenn, who, by the way, is acting like he's trying to get fired. Have you been following all this stuff?
No, I have not. What is that?
He's like fired half his staff like 3 weeks after the season ended. No, a month after the season ended. Their season, about 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks.
That's got to be the worst organization. It has to be.
They're right now fighting Cleveland for what's going on.
He was a good candidate last year.
He was a real good candidate. I'm talking about an amazing candidate. Is that?
I think he's complicit in some of it. I don't think this is just organizational.
I
think he's making a lot of these decisions. Yeah, that's right.
That's that kid. You fire almost all your assistants after year one is flagrant to me.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And you make your seat hotter by doing it this way. So, trying to find a list of everything he's done. I mean, he just fired Tanner Engstrand, the OC.
You know what's bad about that fire is he did it so late.
Oh, right. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. For 3 weeks after the season ends. Mike Silver had a scathing tweet on this. writes for The Athletic, said, some might say Aaron Glenn was a failure in his first season as an NFL head coach with that 3-14 record, 5-game losing streak with an average margin of defeat of nearly 25 points per game. Yet he did do some important things like concealing his starting quarterback's identity on multiple occasions and maintaining a brusque persona in press conferences. He's clearly in charge. Let's give him some credit. A lot of sarcasm there.
That's bad.
A lot of sarcasm.
That's bad.
Yeah, firing your offensive coordinator on January the 27th when half the league is already looking for an offensive coordinator, definitely a choice.
Love that for them.
Definitely a choice.
I just love people to do dumb stuff. Like, just show me who you are. Don't hide it. Show me exactly who you are. And that's what they're doing right now. They're going to lose those dudes so fast, man.
He's probably got the best odds to be the first head coach fired next season.
Oh, there's no question.
A quarter into the season?
No question.
Probably like minus 150.
I'd give him to the end of October. I don't know if Aaron Glenn's going to be wearing his Halloween costume in New York. He may be doing that back home.
Paid, though.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. Listen, that's my dream job, be a fired football coach.
From college up?
Man, I'd get my handicap down solo. I'd be such a good golfer. I mean, I have an athletic ceiling I'm going to hit anyway because, again, I'm one of the least athletic athletes to ever be an SEC athlete. But
don't matter when you can.
If I have a lot of time on my hands and a lot of millions for memberships.
Don't matter at that point. I genuinely do not understand some of the moves that these teams make, but that's neither here nor there. Some people just like the idea that they're going to make money year in, year out and without no level of competition ever. As you can tell, this really irks me. Don't waste my time as a player.
I love how you quickly went from, I love just how dysfunctional teams are to this really irks me in about 60 seconds.
Guys, like I say this often, guys put their bodies on the line and trust you as a coach, as an organization to make sure their careers last. So they can go chase the money and the dreams and their passions all for you to just crash and burn, like kamikaze my career because you feel like you're not ready for a coaching job. Like, get some more serious people about that job. And I'm not saying Aaron Glenn isn't. Maybe he's got a master plan that none of us understand. But don't be dumb.
Maybe just implement your master plan like at the beginning of January, not the end when all the good OC candidates are taken.
Do that thing. I'm rooting for him.
Just a thought. Just a thought. Hit up the podcast if you missed any of the show this morning. Appreciate Sam Monson for stopping by. Coach Mack, as always. Tomorrow morning, we will be joined by Brent Hubbs. Belmont head coach Casey Alexander after a big 1-point win at Valpo last night. They got a huge one coming up this weekend against Murray State. We'll talk about with him at 8 o'clock tomorrow. And Ron Slay. So a lot of hoops. Slay will love that as much as anybody.
He continually put his basketball emojis in our YouTube chat.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Back at it bright and early, 6 a.m. tomorrow. Robert Saleh meeting with the media at 2 o'clock today. Looking forward to it.
And remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot.